Holy crap.
People persist in doubting the evidence.
Don't run and hide. Don't be afraid. Don't turn away any longer. The truth will set you free.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
We're turning all of our antennas towards Jimmy Church.
And now, your host, the captain of conspiracy, the prince of paranormal. This ain't your daddy's radio network show. This is Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
All right. Hey. Fade to Black. It's Fader Nights. How you doing? How you doing? That's the question. I'm doing great. It's Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Thursday, February 26th, 58 days into the new year, 308 days left. It's only February. Where'd it all go? We are live from the truthfunders.com studios right here in downtown Burbank, California. Truth Funders. Do you have a book, an expedition, invention, or paranormal documentary you need to get funded? Go to truthfunders.com. That's right. Truth Funders, the number one source of backing your project into the fringe. Welcome to everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR and the Game Changer Network. I am your oh-so-humble host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is Fader Night Open Lines. You know the number, 323-825-5045. Tonight, we're going to have a very, very, very special surprise guest host for the first time on Fader Night. We've never done this before. I'm so fired up about this. Oh, you guys just wait. Strap it on. Let's get this going. Tonight's one of those nights you're just going to want to get close to your speaker, throw another log on the fire, get your drink ready. Open lines all night. Well, after I get the news out of the way, a couple of emails. You know the drill. Welcome, all of you Fadernauts, all of you new listeners right now tonight that are hearing the show for the first time. Tonight is Fader Night. We do open lines the last night of the week. For us, it's Thursdays. We are live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is open lines all night long. All right, so the call-in number is 323-825-5045. Calls are coming in already. I didn't open up the lines, so you're just going to have to relax. We're going to do that at the bottom of the hour, and we are going to bring in a very special guest host. I can't wait. Can't wait. I wish I could just do my John Teeter time machine move right now. But you know the drill. Got to get to the news you know nothing about. We got to do that. We got to pay some bills, do all that stuff. All right, and faders.org, I just tweeted out, follow us on Twitter, by the way, at JChurchRadio. Come join us in the sandbox. Tonight is a very special night because it's all about the Fadernauts and our family here. And so, but you want to come over and hang out in the sandbox. The sandbox is hashtag F2B. Follow us at JChurchRadio. We're going to blast through a few thousand tweets tonight, and you want to come over and just hang out and join in on the fun, the conversation. It's insane. Love the sandbox. And just so you know, to my left, I have a monitor. I've got 4 monitors in front of me in the studio, okay? I have one huge monitor to my left that is nothing but Twitter, you, the Fadernauts, all of the listeners right there. The action is going there. I have another column in TweetDeck, which is hashtag F2BQ. Those are questions. You got anything for me, anything for our guest host tonight, just pop it in over there. I'll read it. I'll read it on the air, okay? All right? Faders.org, I just tweeted out all the Fader gear, all of the T-shirts and coffee mugs, the Fader mugs, are now available. So just go to www.faders.org, shop.faders.org, whatever you need to do, go over there and get yourself some Faders gear, all right? And if you want to become a Fadernaut, you got to go. You got to go over to faders.org. It's free. It's fun. Become a Fadernaut today. And you want to be that guy or gal at the water cooler tomorrow. Because tonight on the show, you're going to learn something. And that's all we're here for, to become smart. Every day, I end the show 1 degree smarter than when I woke up this morning. And that's the whole reason to live life, isn't it? The sun comes up and you learn something. It's a brand new day. And you're going to do that right here on Fade to Black. All right, the Studio Dome speaker promotion is still going on. It's going to go on until I say stop. All right, Studio Dome SD1. It's a Bluetooth voice-activated speaker for your smartphone, your laptop, your tablet, anything that's got Bluetooth on it. It's really cool, the SD1. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com right now. Click on the banner. It's the black banner that's hard to see because I thought it would be cool to make it black, and fade to black and make the Studio Dome SD1 fade on the edges, fade to black. I thought everybody would get it, but now it's just too hard to see. But that's it. Go click on it. Enter the promo code Jimmy, Jimmy. Get $40 off. That's the Fadernaut special. It's $99.99 retail. You get it for $59.99 and free shipping. Industry's best warranty. I'm telling you, call them. Tell them you're a Fadernaut. You're going to get hooked up. All right? Studio Dome SD1. Contact in the Desert contest. Oh, yes. Tonight's the night. We're going to be, well, you know what? I could do it right now. I'm the boss. Contact in the Desert, May 29th through the 31st. In Joshua Tree, California. Every speaker, author, TV personality in ufology and fringe science, everybody that you know and love is going to be there. Eric Von Daniken, Georgia Tsoukalos, Richard Dolan is going to be there. Last year, Richard's running around. He's such a rock star. Last year, he's running around. He's growing his hair long now, so he looks like, he was a guitar player in the 80s on some MTV video. He's got that long flowing locks now, and he's running around. He stopped by. We're broadcast. He stopped by, and I kissed him on his forehead. And you know what? Unless you were there, you would have never seen it. So that's what you want to do. You want to get to Contact in the Desert. We're giving away tickets. Go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the banner, enter the contest. And who has won? Now, should I do it now or should I do it after the break? What should I do? Should I announce? I've got 5 names right here. You know what? Let's do this first. Oh, the anticipation. I can feel it. I'm fired up because I know who won. Let's get this show cracking. Today, singer Michael Bolton is 62 years old. What? Michael Bolton, church, how did he get on this show? How can you get Michael Bolton off of your lips? You know how you do that? From the movie Office Space. That's how Michael Bolton. Does anybody remember Michael Bolton's videos from the 80s on MTV with his red, white, and blue Les Paul? Do you guys remember that? I'm sure he wants to hide that part of his life, but to be honest with you, that was the cool Michael Bolton. Somebody right now on Twitter, one of you Fadernauts, go dig up one of those old Michael Bolton with his long hair and the red, white, and blue American flag Les Paul. Please, somebody post that. I'll retweet it right now. All right. Michael Bolton is 62 years old. Let's see. Our dead guy's birthdays today. This is what's really weird. Ed, BFT. No, Brandon. Brandon gets a retweet right there. Watch this. That was the best line probably in all of Office Space. Our dead guy's birthdays today. This is really weird, and I'm going to list them all because this is kind of a rare thing. I don't know what it is about February 26th, but listen to our dead guy's birthday list today. First off, Johnny Cash, 1932 to 2003. Moment of silence, please. Jackie Gleason, 1916 to 1987. And, of course, Jackie Gleason's claim to fame, he went with President Nixon in Florida. And Nixon picks him up and takes him and shows him an E.T. body over at the Air Force Base. Oh, yeah, it happened. Levi Strauss today is his birthday, 1829 to 1902. He changed the world. Also today, Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo, Priory of Sion, 1802 to 1885. Also today, Wild Buffalo Bill Cody, 1846 to 1917. And to top it off, today, actor, comedian, Tony Randall, 1920 to 2004, The Odd Couple. Is that a crazy list of dead guys' birthdays? Wow. That picture, Jack, that gets a retweet right there, Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash, moment of silence. All right. What do we do about a Twitter question to start things off tonight? And I'm going through all of this. I don't know what to do. And so I just thought I got to stay with Office Space. And Brandon kind of beat me to the punch. What's the best line from Office Space? Besides Brandon's, which I just retweeted. What's the best line from Office Space? Is it, that's a good line, isn't it? That's a good line. Barry Cole. Barry Cole. No, it's not Barry Cole. Barry Cole's my old roommate. But great lines in Office Space. I would love to see yours, and I'll retweet and read those. I don't know why Office Space just isn't like the funniest movie of all time. It should have its own Oscar. Okay, where are we? I've lost track thinking about Office Space. Let's see. Let's just move on. I had a couple of emails. Let me do that first before I get too lost. An email, then I'm going to go ahead and get to the I'm reading Twitter. I'm going to get to the winners for Contact in the Desert. Got an email from Ben Miller about last night's show with Daryl Sims. He says, your Daryl Sims interview was greatly appreciated. What we in serious UFO interest community need is someone no-nonsense, fact-filled info that enlightens us. Mr. Sims comes across as a real straight shooter, both literally, you're not joking, and figuratively. No progress toward understanding the UFO phenomenon is made without fanciful stories of dubious origin. Daryl helps us weed out the BS. Love when I get emails from Give Me Back My Stapler. That's a good one. Status unknown with a fabulous pic. Hey, you got to come over and follow us right now on Twitter. Beverly just said she never saw Office Space. That's impossible. That is impossible. All right, let's do it. Let me look. Studio clock says I got 1 minute. All right, you guys ready? Here are the winners for this week for Contact in the Desert. Winner number one is Eric James from Yakima, Washington. Eric James, Yakima, Washington. Anybody whose names I'm reading right now, call in tonight to the show, by the way, 323-825-5045. First winner, Eric James, Yakima, Washington. Second winner, drum roll, is Beth DeLapp. Beth DeLapp from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Wow, that's kind of crazy. I just did the Minneapolis Twin Cities joke. Winner number 3. That's winner number 2. Beth DeLapp, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Winner number 3. Are you guys ready? We have a fade or not. Status unknown. Ooh, status unknown. Status unknown is going to contact in the desert. Status unknown. His whereabouts are somewhere on planet Earth. Winner number 4, Chuck Rao. Chuck Rao from Sierra Vista, Arizona. Chuck, you, my friend, are going to contact in the desert. And our last winner tonight, Scott Hunt. Scott Hunt. Scott Hunt. Anybody that who's just been drawn, you guys are going. Yeah, way to go, Status. Status is going. Scott Hunt, Chuck Rao, Beth DeLapp, Eric James, Status unknown. You are our first 5 winners to contact in the desert. I can't wait to hang out with everybody. Going to be doing it just in a couple of short months. Can you believe it? I'm just fired up. Just fired up. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is Fader Night. All of you Fader Knots. In a few minutes, at the bottom of the hour, we're going to bring in a very, very special surprise guest host. Going to be taking your calls all night. 323-825-5045. Skype in Fade to Black 14. Shoot me an email to jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. This is Fade to Black Fader Night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be back with the news you know nothing about right after this. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National tax experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. Doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. It's Thursday, the Thursday edition. It's Fader Night. Taking your calls all night. 323-825-5045. We're going to open up the phone lines, bottom of the hour, where we're going to bring on a very special surprise guest host. You can also Skype in Fade to Black 14. Who's the guest host going to be? All right, let's get to the news you know nothing about. Congratulations to all of our winners this week. We'll do it again next Thursday for a contact in the desert. Eric James, Beth DeLapp, Status Unknown, Chuck Rao, and Scott Hunt. You guys are going to contact in the desert. And, you know, you're going to see us broadcast live. That's going to be cool. You're going to hang out with everybody that you know and love. That's going to be cool. Fade or not, all that. But you know what? It's the after party. It's the after party down the street at the Joshua Tree Saloon. That's why you're going. All right, here's the news you know nothing about. The FCC today passed a historic measure for to more strictly regulate the internet. Don't freak out. The new rules, based on the principles of net neutrality, to provide equal opportunity for internet speeds and access to websites. The central question was, like Comcast or Time Warner Cable, can they discriminate what runs on their cables? The FCC's answer, no. I need everybody to understand, this isn't about government control, it's about freedom. Shows like this, so I don't have to go and pay through the nose to make sure that you hear this show and that our speeds stream the same as everybody else. That's it. It needs to stay. I don't want to hear about my Netflix neighbor paying extra money so he can stream Netflix because something else is crowded. And then something else is, no, you don't want that. You want a level playing field. Little guys like me need an equal shot to run against the big guys. Think about that for a second. All right? Now, the other part of it is the rules won't be official until sometime this summer. Then, even after that, all of the major telecom companies are going to challenge the new rules in court. Then you're going to have some judge put the rules on hold. And then we're going to have another president come in. And if he's from the wrong side of the fence, the whole thing's going to get shot down anyway. But you know what? For the moment, I do have hope. I do. Also today, something strange happened. The true identity of the ISIS terrorist known as Jihadi John, who has appeared in all those videos beheading hostages. The Washington Post first reported it this morning, citing friends and human rights workers familiar with the case, that the man's real identity is Mohammed Emwazi. He's from West London, who has been detained by counter-terrorist officials in Britain at least twice in 2010. Two government sources today spoke to Reuters and said investigators believe the man, yes, is Emwazi. According to the Washington Post and the BBC, Emwazi was born in Kuwait and studied computer programming at the University of Westminster in the UK. The university confirmed that a student of that name graduated in 2009. He had also traveled to Syria sometime around 2012. Now, after the news broke, and it was everywhere today, breaking news, Jihadi John, suddenly all of the mainstream media outlets backed off. It went from headline to no lines. You can't even find it on CNN's homepage right now. Go there, check it out. It's not there. I'm wondering what is really going on. More on this. Also, new video released by ISIS shows militants smashing, this is heartbreaking, what they say are antiquities at a museum in Mosul, Iraq. Have you seen the video? Men are shoving statues off of pedestals. They're using hammers and drills, banging everything up. Some of this stuff is from 700 BC. An unnamed militant offers the following explanation in the video. He says, these antiquities and idols behind me were from people in past centuries and were worshipped instead of God. Unbelievable. It's not clear from the footage that I saw that how many were broken. I don't know if these are copies or the real deal or how much is that. I don't know. But man, out of control. We have no idea how bad it's really gotten. But to me, I'm drawing the line. I'm ready to take up arms. You can't do that. Not that. Don't cross that line. But they have. Exposing wrongdoing within the FBI may land employees in hot water, according to a recent report by the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, which looked into the treatment of whistleblowers at the Department of Justice, the DOJ. The FBI and the Department of Justice have, and I'm quoting here, a vested interest in investigating wrongdoing, yet lack elementary protections for employees who come forward. That's from the GAO. According to the GAO report that is now available, the FBI, as of today, the FBI is the only federal entity that does not shield employees who complain to their immediate supervisors or follow the chain of command to make complaints. Individuals are expected to file protests or criticisms to one of 9 high-level officials who have been designated to receive complaints, but something the report notes is not clearly explained in the FBI guidelines. According to the report, the DOJ rejected 89% of complaints by FBI employees who feared retaliation because they came forward with information about misconduct at the agency. Reviewing the complaints filed between 2009 and 2013, the GAO found that 55 out of 62 were rejected. Unbelievable. Some of it had to deal with 9/11, by the way. Computers, cell phones, and landlines in Arizona were knocked out of service for hours today. ATMs stopped working. 911 systems were disrupted, and businesses were unable to process credit card transactions, all because vandals sliced through a fiber optic internet cable buried under the Rocky Desert. The internet outage did more than underscore just how dependent modern society has become on technology. We talk about that every day on the show. But it does raise questions about vulnerability. How can this actually happen? Alex Juarez, a spokesman for the internet service provider CenturyLink, said the problem was first reported around noon yesterday, and customer complaints immediately began to pour in from the northern edges of Phoenix, cities like Flagstaff, Prescott, and Sedona. Service began coming back within a few hours and was reportedly fully restored about 3 a.m. today. Police now say that vandals were looking for copper wire, which can fetch high prices at the scrap. Yeah, everybody knows about that, but didn't find any, and they cut through the cable with power tools. Unbelievable. How can I don't get it. If doofuses out there looking for copper can cut an internet fiber optic line and nobody knows about it and they know where it's located, somebody explain that to me. Somebody explain that. Australian researchers unveiled the world's first 3D printed jet engine today, a manufacturing breakthrough that could lead to cheaper, lighter, and more fuel-efficient jets. Engineers at Monash University and its commercial arm are making top-secret prototypes for Boeing, Airbus, and Raytheon. Now, check this out. Amaro plans to have printed engine components in flight test within the next 12 months and certified for commercial use within the next 2 years. Australia has the potential to corner the market. It has one of only 3 of the necessary large format 3D metal printers in the world. France and Germany have the other 2, and it's the only place that makes the materials for use in the machine. You know who did make that list? The United States. You gotta love it. KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, has taken a page out of pastry chef Dominique Ansel's book with the introduction of an edible coffee cup made of thin biscuit wrapped in sugar paper and lined with white chocolate. Yep. Listen to this. They look like I don't know how to explain it. It's an edible coffee cup. Now, Kentucky Fried Chicken, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it says Kentucky in the name, right? Kentucky Fried Chicken. We got Starbucks right here. We got Seattle's best coffee right here, right? So shouldn't an edible coffee cup be unveiled here in the United States? Nope. It's going to be in the United Kingdom. That's right. Great Britain is getting white chocolate edible coffee cups at Kentucky Fried Chicken. The cookie shot-esque Soffy cups, as they're called, were reportedly developed in partnership with food scientists at the Robin Collective and even features scents that are supposed to improve your mood. Scents like, are you ready? Coconut sun cream, freshly cut grass, and wildflowers. That took it out. That took it out for me. I don't know about you, but when I'm drinking my Java, freshly cut grass, no. I want bacon. I want maple bacon. That's what I want. Or Oreos. Maple bacon. Oreos. This is Fade to Black. That's all the news you need to know. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It is Fader Night. We're opening up the lines here in a few minutes. When I come back after the break, we've got a special surprise guest host going to be taking your calls all night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be back right after this.
Hello, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
My name is Nick Dominguez. Hi, I'm Rex Dominguez, and I listen to jimmychurchradio.com. Jimmy is your preacher. Amen. This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
KJCR. JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Fade to Black, Fader Nights. Welcome to everybody listening all across the United States, all around the world. It is open lines all night, 323-825-5045. You can also Skype in, Fade to Black 14. That is the number 14. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I am fired up. Fader Night is my favorite night of the week. And right now with us, I have a very, very special surprise guest host. Are you ready, everybody? Say hello to Chase Kloetzke. Chase, how are you tonight?
Well, I'm very excited to be back on Fade to Black, and especially with my fellow Fadernauts. Holla!
So great, you know, and we talked about maybe doing this last week, and I thought, man, you know, this is just the greatest idea like ever. And let's just bring on Chase. Everybody loves Chase. You know, you've got your own thing going on over at KGRA. You've got a great show over there, Fate Magazine. Awesome. And for you to take time out of your busy life and everything that you've got going on with MUFON and all of your guest appearances and autograph sessions that you do and all of your book signings and all those things that somebody like you know, for you to come hang out with us and our Fadernauts, I thought, what a great night for the Fadernauts to have you just hang out with us. So thank you so much, Chase.
You are so welcome, but honestly, it's my honor, and it's a privilege to be here. I'll tell you what, KGRA loves Fade to Black and Jimmy Church. So, it's a partnership. We're colleagues out here. Of course, You know,
it's so true. And one of the things that I have always been jealous of, even before, and I'm talking a long time ago, I would look at and I listen to. How do I want to say this? I'm going to bring back the time machine for you. I remember when you interviewed Ryan Sprague. How long ago was that?
Oh my gosh! And I love Ryan so much. He was actually a correspondent for us.
Right.
on Project White Paper. And, when he was out in the field or out in the conferences, he would call and give us updates, live on KGRA. It was awesome. Ryan's great.
Now, but how long ago was that? Was that like a year and a half ago? It was quite a while ago.
2, yes. It had to be 2. Oh, my gosh.
And so just to let you know, baby sister, that's how long I've been listening to you. And I would always look at that KGRA lineup and go, man, they got it going on over there. That is just perfect. It's like a perfect lineup, and so I've always had my eyes on you guys over there. It's a great situation. So when you're not listening to us, when you're not listening to Fade to Black, it's KGRA where you need to go check out what's going on. So with that. Calls are lined up. You want to start banging them? You ready?
Yes, let's bang that. I'm telling you. Fade or not, say let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking. Okay, hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase. Who's calling?
Hey, Chase, how you doing?
Hey.
Who is this?
Reverend.
Oh, it's Reverend. It's Reverend Miller. Everybody say hi to. How are you tonight, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
It's a beautiful night. I didn't lay out one of the things I didn't do. I should have put this on Chase because now I have a guest co-host tonight, so I can blame stuff on somebody else instead of me. We didn't put topics on the table tonight. So, and Reverend, you're up first in the block. What is it that you would like to talk about or ask Chase?
Oh my gosh. I just called saying I haven't even set up for that one.
Well, okay. I'll put some subjects on the table. Number one, and I'm going to be talking to Chase about this probably all night. We have the crash, the alleged crash up in Manitoba, Canada, of a saucer and recovery. We have that. That's been big news all week. We have the Roswell Kodachrome pictures that are getting ready to get unveiled. Are those are those real or not? That's a big deal. We have John Podesta and his tweet that he did. That is about disclosure. We have that. There's all kind. Then we have the guest that we had on this week. So there you go. What have you got for me, Reverend?
Well, honestly, I have not been able to listen to the show.
Okay.
Now, this is my check. I was just checking in with you. I've actually, my thought was actually on John Teeter.
John Teeter?
Has anybody even heard from him or any word from his attorney maybe? Or
I did see a John Teeter video today. Chase, did you see that? Did you see that going around?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
It's a John Teeter Valentine's Day video.
Wow.
John Teeter says, okay, check this out. If you need help going back in time to fix up every Valentine's Day you've ever screwed up, get a hold of me. And I died because when I saw it, I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is interesting, new Teeter stuff. So what did I do, doofus that I am? I clicked on the video, and I died laughing. It was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, all of you men that need to go back in time and fix up all of the Valentine's Days, I just died. It was hilarious.
Wow. That'd be a lifetime. I'm trying to save all those.
Yeah, I don't. John Teeter, I get email on him every single day. I've got a little bit of news, but until there's something that I can lock up like a whole show on, I just want to accumulate everything. I just want to accumulate all of the stuff, and then we'll do one big show. But I got the feeling, and I had said this yesterday on Twitter, that we're going to do a Teeter show probably next month in March. We're already at the end of February, so next month we'll do a Teeter show, and I've got a few things to talk about. Thank you so much, Ed, man. Always great to hear your voice, my friend.
All right, love you all.
Right back at you.
Take care. Bye.
Hey, Chase, what do you make of this Manitoba? crash UFO stuff? You're a MUFON investigator. What have you got for me?
Honestly, when it comes to these types of reports, and it's even going to be my statement when we talk about other things later, I need more than, a few statements and some pictures. And, there's so much detail when you get into a crashed UFO. What does that mean? Really, what does that mean, guys? It means that you've got physical evidence up the yin yang. And how are we going to secure that? How are we going to get this? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, one of the reports that I had read, and everything's a little sketchy, and certainly tonight on the show, I can count on 2, 3, 4 calls coming in from Canada, a couple from Manitoba. So those are going to come in, and we'll be able to talk to. My comments on everything is until I talk to somebody that from Canada that's got something to say, then right now we have nothing. That's it.
You're exactly right. And, there's a lot of good things that sometimes will go really quickly down the trash heap because, 5 people jump on it and say, it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's been proven. Okay, Facebook said, and so you want to be careful of that. But at the same time, remember when, you had Dome of the Rock. I mean, there's been some big stories that broke. And when it came down to it, it's just a false flag. They set us up sometimes. It's crazy. And when I say there are people that think that's funny.
Right.
Like, do you remember the big crop circle in California? And it was a computer chip maker.
Yep.
They thought that was funny to see the kind of reaction and watch all the tweets go off from, these crazy UFO people. It's just nonsense. And, the scrutiny that we have to invest in as investigators, it's just half our job, and it shouldn't be.
You brought up the Dome of the Rock, and the amount of work when those videos first came out. I was driving. I was in a car, and I was listening to the radio. It might have even been coast to coast, and I'm hearing the reports about this. So I go and I check out the video, but the stories that I was getting off of the radio and then reading on the internet was, oh my God, this is the most incredible ever. This is it. We have it. And so I go and I'm freaking out. I watched the first time I watched the video, I did not in any way react like I was seeing something real. I noticed in the video that bright flash, if it was going to indeed happen over the Dome of the Rock, the entire city would have lit up. And there was not one reflection off of any of the buildings. And it just looked to me to be fake. Immediately, I didn't buy into it at all. But you know what? Millions of people did. And they did the multiple, if you remember, Chase, they had like shots from 4 different locations around Jerusalem with the people reacting in the background. Oh,
exactly.
Right. And I thought somebody went through all of this effort to, do the 4 or 5, I forget how many views of it, locations, to put all of this together. Why? Why do this? Why get everybody's emotions stirred like this? Somebody's getting really sick enjoyment out of it. And it's uncool.
Well, and when you have a story coming out like this, a UFO, crashes into a lake, you have military everywhere. Do we have any idea about the foreign technology and the top secret, something as simple as a satellite, falling out of the sky? It's just, maybe that's why the military's there. However, the military denies they're even there. It's so easy that's what I'm saying. As this information starts coming in, Jimmy, it's debunk and you have to critically look and analyze photos to even make sure that they haven't been CGI'd. And then all your CGI guys want in. And it's just crazy to systematically get these stories out. And in a way, as a UFO investigator, that's something we would consider immediately is our, military or top secret technology that needs to be protected. I'll tell you what, I don't want to be the investigator out in the hills of Kentucky, with, a couple of my friends or my colleagues actually, checking it out. It turns out to be, China's top secret thing that they want back. It's like, and I'm pulling pieces off it. And that's what the danger is. That's really what separates UFO investigations from like paranormal. One, it's a national security issue, but two, there's serious considerations and serious dangers just running up to something like this.
When you hear reports like what's coming out of Canada right now, that they shut down the internet, they shut down phones on an Indian reservation. These are hard fact claims that are easy to check. And can somebody from Canada please call me and verify this? Number 1-323-825-5045. That, but also, can the government actually? I can't speak for Canada, but what would happen if the United States government shut down, or there were claims of shutting down phone service and cell phone communication and internet connections to an Indian reservation? Is that even legal to do?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea. I would imagine it's done often if we call it a glitch. Who would know that if a whole town was shut down? That's a really great question, Jimmy, is, there's, and would the government be so blatant covering it up like that? Again, this would be their response if it was dangerous to the public. And I'm a UFO investigator, guys. I'm just trying to be, smart about investigating. Is everything, if the government really is circling their wagons, we have things out there that are dangerous. We have things that are top secret. We have things that they want to protect. It's not always going to be a UFO. But if it is a UFO, there's so much on it right now and so much attention. Good luck pulling that sucker up without anybody seeing it. With all the drones, even I have a drone. All these privately owned drones we can throw up in the air with these cameras on them, little GoPros. Yeah, it's awesome. They're having a harder time keeping this. But again, you don't want to be that guy with a photo of, a Russian satellite. And if anybody thinks that they're not over here and Russian drones in China or whatever, oh, please, I got a few websites for you.
Well, wouldn't that be like the easiest thing to check, not only for us on the side of ufology and research, but let's just say the CBC or any broadcasting outlet, media outlet out of Canada that are reading these claims? Wouldn't some journalists go and check this out and go, no, they never shut? It would be something easy to fact check. That's the point. If it's a hoax, then why aren't they just coming out going, no, it's BS? They've never lost their internet service. Everything is still up. They never lost their phones. Everything is cool there. But we're not getting that side of it either, which kind of feeds the fire, doesn't it?
It does, but would you believe them if they came back? I mean, say Fox News or CNN put out that, I wouldn't believe them. I'd be like, bull crap. I want to know. Richard Dolan tells me I'll believe him. Race Hobb tells me I believe him. If, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Somebody just tweeted, Chase, do you think there will be any follow-up from John Podesta, or has he and the media clammed up by a directive?
I think he cracked something because he wanted to. And it may not be tomorrow or next month, but we're going to hear more from him. I'll put money on it.
Because he was with Obama, I was talking about this last night, because he was with the Obama administration for so long, certainly through all of 2014, where he was referring to in the tweet when he said that, my biggest disappointment in 2014 was, not to. And so it's kind of a roundabout way of saying he tried. You know what I'm saying? That he tried and he got shut down by the administration. That's what I see when I read that tweet. I don't think I'm reading too much into it to come away with that. What do you think?
I don't know if Obama would be told anything. I don't believe that the intelligence community trusts him. And I don't believe he'd be read into anything like that. A lot of presidents aren't. He's a temporary employee. They all are. But I don't think he would know. Podesta, whoever, controls that secret is who Podesta's talking about. Definitely not the president of the United States. POTUS, right? What would POTUS? Why would we read POTUS into, any, there's a number of those, and especially one that hates the intelligence community and blames them for every mishap possible, even Benghazi. There is no way the CIA is going to trust this president.
Interesting. Phone lines are open. 323-825-5045. We're going to have Chase with us all night, taking your phone calls. This is Fade to Black, Fader Night, my favorite night of the week. You can also Skype in Fade to Black 14. And I wanted to do this really quick and kind of get this out of the way. Your show, Fate Magazine, well, I know where you got the name for your show from, but how did you arrive at Fate Magazine?
It was such an honor, because Fate Magazine is literally credited with starting the paranormal genre.
No doubt.
It's just amazing. And, when you hear Stephen King quote that the reason he got involved in horror is that his mind would race because his mom would read him Fate Magazine every single month. And there's just story after story about how this magazine is worldwide and has been in production and it's iconic. 1948, the first cover, Kenneth Arnold, UFO. Are you serious? The public went crazy because, the only other place you could get this information was the Inquirer. And what most people don't realize is Fate Magazine has a journalistic approach and has called out probably two of the biggest hoaxes. They called out the Philadelphia experiment as well as the Amityville book and movie. So, just a few examples of how they're, not paracondraics where every story is true. They're journalistic at their approach. I'm a huge fan of Fate Magazine, but mostly I'm a fan of Phyllis and Race. And Phyllis Galdi is the editor-in-chief, and she really wanted to, give kind of a facelift or a new avenue for Fate Magazine. And of course, it's iconic. The magazine's as good as it's always going to be. It's brilliant. So what do? So she's like, well, I want a radio show. And who do you call? You call KGRA. So, then Race is like, well, I got a host. Her show's on hiatus. Let's see what happens. And so it really was, something like that. But for Fate Magazine to now be on radio and for Phyllis and I to dip into, guests and authors and people that were featured in the magazines and, to have the kind of stamps of, even The Rock. The Rock is, he was on the cover. It was great, that these guys love Fate Magazine. It's a huge honor.
Well, one of the things you can always do, no matter what, you never run out of material. You know what I mean? For your show, just go pick up a magazine, open it up, and start reading. That's what I would do. I would just start reading. It reminds me of doing something like that. You remember Bill Cooper? Right?
Yes.
I listen to Bill every night before I go to bed. That's at the end of all of my reading and at the end of all of my research, I'll go pull up an old Mystery Babylon show or something with Bill and click it on. Where there's so many shows, I'm serious too, he would just start reading from a book. And he would do that for an hour with no commercials and read from a book, and it was... It's almost like books on tape, but it's Bill Cooper. And you could do that with Fate Magazine. You could just open up a page and just start reading from the book. Fully jealous.
Absolutely. It's one of the, it's my backup plan. Every once in a while you have a guest and, everybody's human, things happen and they fall out last minute. That's exactly where I'm going. I'm picking up my favorite Fate articles and, there's actually an author in there and I just find myself drawn. It's almost like every article I open up to first in the magazine, and her name is Kelly Bell. I don't know who this lady is, or man, I guess I shouldn't have just assumed it was female, but
right.
But seriously, I I want to find out who this person is and get them on the show. So you're exactly right. Guest drops out. I'm going to be talking about my favorite Fate article in Fate magazine, you guys, on the radio, right?
Yeah. Do you have like boxes of them?
Yes. Phyllis Scalding was absolutely so generous. Sent me back issues because I needed archival, references, and we're even giving away on the show next week. Their Fate magazine covers, but they're trading cards. And we're giving away a whole pack. I mean, she's sending me all sorts of things. And, she's very open, a wonderful person, smart as a whip, but she wouldn't be the one in the group you'd give credit to being the smartest in the room. But she is. I mean, she's just amazing. I love Phyllis. Have you met her?
No, I haven't. I would love to meet her. And she's a pillar of knowledge. Known of her for forever, but no, I've never met her. I got a bunch of questions here in Twitter, so let's just bang these out for you. Jimmy, please ask Chase more about the Philadelphia experiment hoax. It's about time somebody mentioned that. It bothers me, but yeah. I'm gonna throw that out to you first, and then I'll comment.
Okay. Yeah, the Philadelphia experiment, I was shocked because this is something that, you hear about the hoax, but there's an article in one of the past Fate magazines, and I wish I knew I was going to get this question. I'd grab the article. But yeah, they exposed that this really didn't happen, that it started out to be almost a report of what people thought would happen if they were going to experiment, and that the Navy would do it. And they even picked, the Navy shipyard, which wasn't really valuable as, a lot of traffic in and out. Like you couldn't do it at Hampton Roads or Mayport or, so it was great. It was great stuff. But they proved that it really didn't happen. And the government, all these times, taking hits from people like me, because I don't believe them anyway, when they say, oh, really, there's nothing here. We don't know what you're talking about. There was no Philadelphia experiment. And, of course, we're thinking, Roswell.
All right. You know what? I'm going to put somebody at the front of the line who is calling in. Are you ready?
Sure.
It's Jim Malyard. Hi, Jim.
Hello.
Jim, I'm so excited. Hi, darling.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Man, who's next? Mac Maloney?
Hey, we love our Chase, so, we got to do what we got to do.
Aw, thanks.
I haven't talked to Jim in a while. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to have Chase back and all this fun stuff. But so I'm in awe of both of you because you guys get the next level up guest. So I'm going to ask you a question that seems to go around a lot. Who are you two looking to talk to that you haven't been able to talk to? I kind of off the paranormal and the stuff you were just talking about, but I just wanted to get you try to get some of these Fadernauts going on some different kind of things, get them fired up. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The Fadernauts right now, I knew one of the issues with bringing Chase on, everybody's going to be mesmerized.
Oh, no.
They're just going to sit and just and absorb Chase all night. But that's a great question, Jim. So stay with us. I'm going to throw that to Chase. Chase, who do you have a dream interview that you haven't been able to do yet?
I do. And there is one person, and I talked to him personally, and he knows I adore him. I know he adores me. I love this guy completely, and I've never been able to get him on my show. He's busy, or, he was available, but I was booked up. Jim Mars.
What?
Jim Mars.
Jim Mars?
I love him.
Oh, well, we all love Jim, and that's it. Okay, your next show is Jim Mars.
Well, no, I think it's just our timing. And
I know.
I said, I talk to him personally all the time because there was an incident in Texas I needed, his advice on, and I just love him so much. But for some reason, I've pretty much talked to everyone else out there that, I just love.
Yeah, Jim, one of the cool things, he's been on my show a few times, and I've been really lucky. And then there was another time when we were broadcasting live at Contact in the desert, oddly enough, and he came down as we were literally winding up mic cables. We had just ended, and he comes down, and we're there. It's Linda Moulton Howe and John Anthony West. We just wrapped the show. We're taking pictures with the Fadernaughts and hanging out. And here comes Jim. Am I too late? I was like, oh, no. Really? Man, I'll fire this sucker back up right now, man, if you want to, And that was one time when I didn't get him on the air. But that's the kind of guy he is. He came down and made the effort. And but 2 weeks ago at the Conscious Life Expo, he got a Lifetime Achievement Award from George Norrie.
Yes, he did. I'm actually looking at that cover right now.
Yeah, and they asked me to come up and speak. And I was like, you're kidding me, really? And I told Jim, I'm up there. They caught me off guard. But the point is, it's not about us. It's not about them. It's not, you know what, Jim? It's about you right now. Enjoy this evening. Enjoy this moment. I'm honored that you had me step up here. But I got to tell you, you're just somebody that we all respect so much. And that's the reason for this award. And just congratulations. But yeah, I'm so with you on that. So Jim Mars, whenever you're ready. Now, for me, my guy, and the way that you were warming up with that one, Chase, I thought you were gonna name who my guy is, who we've been trying to, but he's been busy and so forth. Jacques Vallée.
Okay. One of my other big heroes.
Yeah,
I love Jacques Vallée.
I'm going with Jacques Vallée, and he was just on Coast to Coast with George Knapp. So I'm driving in my car last Sunday night, and I've got Coast to Coast dialed up, and I'm driving, and I hear George Knapp going, on tonight's show, Jacques Vallée, and I almost crashed. I'm like, oh, that ain't right, man. I've been trying all year long. But I was glued to the radio, man. I'm listening to George, and I even wrote to George after that. I said, dude, I was listening to you do Jacques Vallée last night, man. I'm insanely jealous. But to hear Jacques come on with that accent, the Close Encounters of the First Kind was great, and the experience. I'm like, man, I want to interview him so bad.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that changed it for all of us. What about you, Jim? Who do you want to interview?
Well, if you're putting the top of the list, I want to interview Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, yeah. He's probably number 2 for me. I'm with you on that one.
Has he ever done a show?
I don't know if he's done a show. I know he's done a few really cool YouTube videos that were pretty obscure. That were off of, it was off to the left and right as far as who the hosts were and stuff, and how do you get that lucky? But I've been in touch with his people, and I reach out about once a month, and I pretty much get the same story. Yes, he would love to come on the show. He's out of the country. Yes, he would like to come on the show. He's doing this over in Madagascar.
He's washing his hair? What?
Yeah, right. He's on an elephant expedition in the safari somewhere. I get these, and all of them I have to believe are true. I mean, if you're Dan Aykroyd, you're out there seeing the world, and you're a busy guy. But I've got a direct line to his people, and I will definitely keep my foot on the gas. I want Dan Aykroyd on the show. Yeah, I'm with you. Dan Aykroyd and Jacques Vallée. Those are my 2.
Oh my gosh, Feigned Indifference on Twitter. Have you seen the Fade to Black, the duck? And I'm assuming this is for Jim Mallard. That is one of the coolest pictures I've seen in a while. You need to steal that duck, Jim.
I'm looking for it. Did I miss it?
I can't keep up. I can't keep up with the tweets, and I love my faders.
Tweet just blows by. Jack Assman just tweeted this picture of Dan with his Skull vodka. And I happen to have one of our friends here, Rick, on the show, one of the Fadernauts, sent Rita and I a Skull Vodka kit. So it's the Skull Vodka, decanter full of Skull Vodka, but also these really cool Skull shot glasses. And I tried to use that angle, too, with his people. Hey, bring Dan on. We'll talk about Skull Vodka. Let's promote that. But, I actually have a Skull Vodka kit downstairs. And one of these nights, we're going to bust that stuff out. I don't see this. I don't see the duck, the black duck. Somebody...
Well, I'm shouting out. I hope that he sends it to you guys in your Twitter personally.
Oh.
It's just epic.
Oh, it went to you and not to me.
Maybe. But it's pretty epic. I was impressed. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jim needs this duck.
Which
I've got my own cool little duck going down. So,
Jim, this picture of you sideways is throwing me off, man.
Yeah, it is funny.
Oh, you can see. Yeah, you see it too, huh, Chase?
Yeah, I just don't see my photo.
I tried to load it the right way like 4 times, and it didn't work. So I said, you know what? It's done. I'm done with it.
Just let it run, man. Sometimes you just got to let it run. So, Jim, your show is when? Saturday nights?
Tuesday night.
Oh, it's Tuesday.
Right before you over there at KGRA at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, I got you. And who do you have before I let you go? Who's up for you this Tuesday? Why was I thinking Saturdays? You know what?
I have no idea.
Let's not go there. Okay, so anyway.
You were taking the night off. You know what? I don't have my guest lined up for this week, but in a couple weeks I have one of your good friends on, Micah Hanks.
Oh, you got okay.
17th.
Micah's always. I was just on Micah's show. I phone bombed him a couple of days ago, and it was one of the things that I do before I broadcast each night. I'm always listening. As I'm setting up the show, I bounce around and listen to all the cool cats, and I'm watching Twitter roll by, and Micah's like, I'm live here in a few minutes, or maybe Race tweet. I'm like, oh, Micah's coming up, cool. So I'm sitting there listening to Micah's show, and I'm trying to figure out how to call in, and I can't figure it out. So I figured it out and got to him, and we ended up. I got on with him for a few minutes, and he's just. I found myself listening to him right up to showtime. I could not stop listening to Micah Hanks. I don't know if it's his voice or the subject matter. It's one or the other. I don't know what it is with Micah, man. But he gets me sucked in.
It's both. I've had him on my show before, and it's both because it's the voice, and it goes so fast. You're just sitting there in awe, like you were talking about with Chase. You sit there and you go, you're trying to process it all and keep up with it, and then you go, oh crap! I have to ask him a question here in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Micah definitely does that. He definitely does that. I when Micah's on my show, I pretty much just let him go. That's all you can do. You're just like, just ask him a question. What's the weather like? And then 15 minutes later, you get to the next question, and you just wind him up and let him go. Thank you so much for calling in, Jim, my brother. It's been too long.
Yes, Jim, thanks.
You know where to find me, and enjoy it, Jimmy.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you so much, Jim. Jim Malyard, everybody. Let's take a quick break, Chase. Just stay with us. I gotta click on some stuff. Let's take a quick break. 323-825-5045. Tonight is Fader Night. 323-825-5045. Special guest, host, Chase Kloetzke. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Oh, man, I just love Doug Aldrich. Take it away, Doug. Hey, Chase.
Yeah.
Doug Aldrich can play, can he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big time.
Okay, check this out. That track that you're listening to right there, this, recorded in a bedroom.
What?
Those drums, Chris Frazier, were set up at the foot of Doug's bed. No kidding. And not only that, I'll go further with it. We taped all of the pictures to the walls in Doug's room. We had to tape them to the wall because they were vibrating. And but those drums were cut in a bedroom in Sherman Oaks, California. No joke. People listen to that record. I would I used to give these mixing seminars, and I would use that track and show people how to mix. And when I told people that was done in a bedroom, not at some $1 million studio, it would blow their minds. They just couldn't believe it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and so it's just funny. I don't know where that came from, but it just sucked me in. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase Kloetzke. Who are you calling? Who's calling? You're live. He just said hello. You're live. 3.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live.
Oh, there you go.
You're live.
Oh, hi, Jimmy. Oh, my good. Sorry, it's my first time calling into a radio show. I can't believe I actually got on. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. How you doing? Who's calling? What's your name?
My name is Jubu. I'm from Philadelphia.
And
so you guys listened to David Wilcock yesterday on Coast to Coast?
I didn't. Chase, I know that he was on last night. Chase, did you listen to David Wilcock last night?
No.
Okay. What? So what happened? Did he say anything?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually the first time he started getting into probably the most negative stuff I've heard him talk about, like you've heard of Jonathan Kahn, probably the Shemitah and all the likely economic collapse is probably going to be this year.
Right.
A lot of people are talking about Peter Schiff, Harry Dent.
Right.
Just like, what do you guys think about that? You think it's going to be this year?
Well, I don't know if, I'll throw that back to Chase too. I don't know if Chase heard David. He was on with us, I think Christmas Eve last, 2 months ago. He was on with us Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, maybe. I don't know. We called it the Christmas special. And he talked about exactly that, about this year and the economic collapse and specific information. And it was pretty, like you said, it was negative and daunting. And, it was one of those things that, let's hope he's wrong. That's the thing. I don't want to have anybody be wrong about something, but let's hope he's wrong.
Yeah, for real, except I have not heard David Wilcox. I didn't hear him on Coast to Coast. And I know that he does talk about this. I have not personally, been to a conference where I've heard him. But what I will say is you guys do know it's kind of listed in the Torah codes and that many people believe. Is David saying it's going to be around September?
I'm not sure if he said September exactly, but he did say things are looking to be pretty rough in the near future. So.
Yeah, and I have to tell you guys that there's a lot of government agencies telling, when they start stocking their shelves, you might want to, it's kind of like the EOD guy that, if you see him running, you don't want to ask what's going on. You just follow him because he's running for a reason. And, when these guys start stocking their shelves and buying a lot of water, it's just smart to think about some of this. I worry about the fear porn because we all would like to know or be warned. But again, guys, if there's so much information and all these false flags and, how many of us got a little twinge 2012?
Right.
You don't want to ignore it because you don't want to be the dumbass. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, and then at the same time, you don't want to engage in all this. It's a really precarious position when you're trying to be a reasonable, sane adult.
Yep.
Yeah, like the guy from My Future Supply, like he was talking about how Homeland Security wants to buy all of the stuff he was producing. So yeah, they definitely know some.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I'm going to talk to Chase more about that. Thank you for the phone call, man. First time caller, man. First time caller.
Thanks.
Thanks for calling.
Right, Rita, now. We'll put something in the mail to you out of the junk drawer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aw.
Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase Kloetzke. Who's calling?
Hey, Chase, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm fantastic. This is
Who
a pretty
is
good
this?
show.
Yeah, well, you're live right now. What have you got for chat? What's your name, man?
Jim McLeister.
Oh, no. Are you serious? Yeah. How are you, Mac Daddy?
It's pretty good. This is a pretty good show, actually.
Hey. Oh, well, hold on, Chase. All right, I just got to tell everybody right now, this is Jim McLeister. Jim, first-time caller. As far as I know, it's the first time he's ever listened to the show. But Jim, Jim and I went to high school together. We've been best friends for the last 30, 40 years. He was also the best man in my wedding, first wedding. And we go way, way back. So, Jim, thank you for calling. You know what? I'm never at a loss for words. Chase, have you ever heard me stumble?
Not one time.
And
Chase, I've known him since we were like 17. I've never heard him stumble either. So.
I'll tell you what. Oh, I bet you have some fun stories.
Yeah, let's not go there. This is still a family program. But yeah,
a lot of going to church, doing community service work, stuff like that.
So, man, that is the best wingman ever.
Oh yeah, Jim and I. I could go on and on and on and on and on, but that's boring to everybody. So, but
it is. And I want to let you get back to your show. I mean, it's fantastic that you've got this great show going on, and that I can actually call in. I don't have to call you 3 hours after it's over now.
Yeah, no, you don't. Cool. That's what. Hey, Mac Daddy. My best to you, the family, your mom, your dad, and. Just to give everybody an idea of what we're talking about here, in 1980, Jim McLeister sat next to me in biology class. That's 35 years ago. What was that biology teacher's name? What was his name? The guy with the Corvette?
Mr. Hines.
Yeah, Mr. Hines.
Are you serious? Like, all right, already I've got like 50 jokes going through my mind.
Well,
between the name and you two in biology.
What was that, Jim? What was that?
We actually used real frogs back then.
Yeah, we actually did use real frogs back then. But that's how long.
Way before PETA and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's how long I've known Jim McLeister. Jim, give my best to everybody. And Jim's next door neighbor, the three of us, the Three Musketeers, Kurt Stokes, myself, and Jim. He now lives next door to our other friend from high school, and they actually live next door to each other now. They own houses next door to each other. Give my best to Kurt, the family, your mom, your dad, Absolutely. Jennifer, Greg, and everybody. Thank you, Jim.
Great show, and Chase, hey, great to talk to you.
Oh, thanks. It was nice meeting you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, bye-bye.
Later.
Yep.
That's no joke. I'm telling you right now, that was a no-joke surprise phone call right there. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase Kloetzke. Who's calling?
This is Katia Ferris.
Oh, you got to turn down your radio. Turn it down.
I got it.
Okay, who is this?
This is Katia.
Katia, how are you tonight?
Yay! I'm great. Yay!
All right.
I told them I would just giggle the whole way through this.
Oh, stop. This is what's great about Fade to Black and Fader Night. It's just about the family, and that's it. And tonight it's family night. Katia, what do you got? Tell me, you've got a really cool question for Chase. Throw her off her game.
Throw her off her game. Oh, my gosh. Well, Linda Moulton Howe. What do you think about her research?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Okay.
I love strong women, and you guys are strong women, and we need more strong women in the field. So tell me.
Okay, and I am known to be brutally honest or, so open, so I hope I don't take hits for this, but honestly, she deserves so much respect. This woman was out, and let's face it, this UFO field is mostly the old boys club. So there's this woman that kills it out there, really in the field, doing the work, blazing trails before we had internet and it was cool. She really had a tough time. And I know now when, we hear some things about Linda and, we have to remember where she came from, and she deserves so much respect just for blazing those trails, so I get to do it now.
Well, you know what? Can I say that? Let me jump in. And I'm going to defend the women researchers out there right now. Let me say this. As a guy in ufology, and I want to say some of the strongest, I've always felt that there were more strong women in this field than strong men sometimes. Some of the researchers that I really look up to are all women. And I don't
researchers, but who's actually, with a forensic kit and,
no doubt.
Geiger count, like boots on the ground.
No doubt.
You could count them on
and who's
one
listening
hand.
too? I'm out here listening in the field, and what am I hearing? I hear her. And that's important. That's important to get the voice out, I think.
Yeah,
because,
I agree. But to me, it feels, and I understand because as a woman, and I'm talking to two women right now. So as women, you always have to remember that it always feels different from your side of the fence. Okay, it just does. But I'm just telling you that when you're looking at Barbara Harris, or you're looking at Paola Harris, or you're looking at Kathleen Martin, or Chase Kloetzke, or Linda Moulton Howe, or and walk and look at some of the conferences and look at the strong names and I think it's pretty dang balanced. I really do. And the ones that I look up to the most, it seems like, are women, and I'm not taking anything away from Mars or Dolan. I'm not going there. But I'm saying that you guys have a lot to be proud of, too, as well. I don't think it's as one-sided. You guys are on that side of the fence.
And what I've seen also, being in academia and just seeing how the whole gender roles play out, women have to push so much harder, I think, to get that voice heard. And so I just learned about Chase tonight. All the Fadernauts are telling me about her in the chat room on Spreaker. So that's great. Thank you. And Jimmy, I'm from Indy too. Well, actually, I'm in Bloomington, but I know you spend a lot of time in Indy. And
oh yeah. I went to Warren Central High School right there.
Okay.
And Cumberland, and Jim McLeister, who was just on, he still lives on that part of town. My mom sent me an email today. She goes, "We're selling the house in Columbus. We're moving back.
No.
Yeah, we're moving back to Indy." And I wrote her back.
They're going to Indy. Okay.
Yeah, they're going back to Indy. My dad's retired, my mom's retired, and so they've always wanted to go back to Indy. So that's it. My brother just built a house there, David, and they're now moved into their house, and that's it. My mom's just like, what? We're throwing in the towel. We're going back to Naptown.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I'm in Bloomington, but I work a lot in Indy, and I grew up in Anderson, but I actually went to Culver Girls Academy.
Oh, I Culver, one of my best friends.
Military, I did the military school in the summer, too.
Yeah, one of my best friends went to Culver until high school. I don't want to say his name. It's a private military school, so I can't go there. But, yeah, everybody knows Culver in Indiana. Yeah. So there you go. All right, Katya, that rocks. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. Say goodnight to Chase.
Okay. Good night, Chase.
Good night. Thank you so much for calling in.
Sure. Have a good one.
Okay, I'm going to take these calls in order here. Here we go.
Okay.
Right. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Say hi to Chase Kloetzke.
Jimmy, this is Dandy. And
hey, Dandy, how are you tonight, my brother? Say hi to Chase.
Hi, I'm good. Hi, Chase.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I have an experience to share with you, and I just want your thoughts.
Okay.
Fly a mission.
When I was like 7th grade in junior high, I guess, me and some buddies were on a bike ride, and we heard some loud sound like power lines, only there was no power lines there. And we looked up and we saw something. I saw what looked like a derby hat from maybe 100 yards away, pretty big. And it scared the crap out of us, so we took off running. And when we all had the experience with each, tried to draw it, and every one of us saw something, but every one of us saw something different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not the first time I've heard this either, but
absolutely.
Keep going, Danny. What happened next?
Well, some of us saw. I saw the derby hat. Some of them saw a disc. Some of them saw a cigar-shaped thing, and we kind of, blew it off after that. But I was just wondering if maybe what we're seeing is something that our mind can't wrap around, and put something. Puts our own picture in what we're seeing.
Well, I'm going to hand this immediately off to Chase, but only because she's the professional researcher. I'm just a doofus at the microphone. But I'll chime in. Chase, what do you think they were seeing, and why was everybody seeing something different?
There are many reports where you'll have witnesses in the exact same proximity. They're literally talking about different objects, and we don't believe they are different objects. And there's different theories, and you hit on one of them absolutely, is that you're just seeing what you're supposed to be seeing, meaning that they're controlling what you're seeing. And the other thing is just your point of view. If you're nervous and you're running, how far away was this guy when he looked back? He may have had a different angle and where the sun was hitting. So there's a lot of theory to that, but it is not so unheard of to have that happen, where you have witnesses that were standing there and saw something different. And the objects, we're dealing with the quantum physics. We're dealing with, things that we know exist, like a dimension. We know the dimensions exist. We don't really understand them yet. But we're close, because 10 years ago, they wouldn't have admitted that they knew they exist. So, it's quantum physics of tomorrow. It's all going to be the math that's going to get us there, the science that are going to give us the answers before, I believe, disclosure. But, these are some of the things that we deal with out here, and we call them kind of roadblocks. And, how do you constitute corroboration in witness statements when you're trying to come up with admissible case evidence in your UFO reports? And, your witnesses are all seeing something different. Well, you tell the truth, because the truth is it's been done before from very credible people. And I wish I had a better answer. I wish I could say it's because of this.
You're exactly right. And my take is, and I am serious, no matter what happens in front of you, you have a bunch of witnesses, you are not going to get the same story. It doesn't matter what it is. I was witness to a motorcycle accident about 2 or 3 years ago. Horrific, bad crash. I'm not going to get into the details, but it was bad, bad, bad. And I saw what I saw. And there was it was at a busy intersection with a gas station on one corner and a Taco Bell on another. And there were plenty of witnesses there. And the police are taking reports. I was the first person that ran up and saw what I saw. Now, but back to my point. About 2 hours later, a cop came up to me and said, okay, really? What direction was he coming from, the motorcycle? I said, he's coming from that. He goes, look, I've got 7 reports here, and they're all different. They got him coming from this way. They got him coming from that way. They got the car that hit him coming from this direction, and it was coming from this direction and this. And I don't know what to do here. I said, man, I can only tell you what I saw. He goes, you're the only one that says that he was coming from that direction and the car was coming from this direction. I've got all these other reports. I don't know what to do. And that's exactly what you're going to have when you have multiple witnesses. You're just going to have everybody's point of view. Their mind is telling them what they saw. And that's what you have to go on. And it's really true.
Huh.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying, don't you? You're never going to get everything exactly the same. And that's always the problem with eyewitness testimony when it comes to a court case. And how many people have been convicted by somebody's eyewitness testimony that you don't know. It's only their mind that is telling them what they saw, and they believe it. I'm not saying that they don't believe what they're saying is true, because they do. Just like when I was giving my statement to the police, I know what I saw, but it wasn't corroborated by any other witness's testimony, and I just couldn't believe that. But how could they not have seen the same thing that I saw? But they were all there too. They were all witnesses.
Well, there's some time even, I've experienced this. I, hate talking about it, but I mean, this is no joke when we know we have report after report, tens of thousands of reports, if not more, in, the historical data, that there's a mind control. They can pretty much, you could see or hear or feel or move or, there's a definite something going on there. So, to make each one see something different, I always think of that Star Trek episode where, you see them kind of in this world and they're scrambling to get out because they realize the indigenous people can see them and they're not supposed to be seen. It's just funny how some of this plays out, but, it's UFOs. It's like, we need a break is what we need. We need answers. But being honest is exactly how we're going to get them.
Well, one of the things, Dandy, stay with me. One of the things that I find fascinating is the cigar shape. And I've never seen anything ever that in the sky that's had a cigar shape. Yet you hear so many accounts of cigar shapes. So what does that mean? Well, from the side view of something that is round and flat is going to look like, this is my own mind, trying to resolve this. I guess they're seeing the side view of something and it's a cigar shape. And maybe if it turned, then suddenly, an airplane can look like a cigar shape until you see the bottom of it, then you would see the wings. Now it's no longer a cigar shape. You know what I'm saying? And
go ahead.
And then when you were just saying derby hat, right? Yeah. Now a derby hat from the bottom is going to be round. You know what I'm saying? And so and as it turns, that derby part isn't as tall, and it would shrink down. And now you're thinking more of a different shape. And so with you and your three friends, it was who was seeing it at what point in time, and it could have been moving around. What you saw at that moment that you looked, you saw a derby shape. Your friend saw something that was cigar shaped because maybe it was changing its view and was moving. And it could have also been changing its shape in real time too as well. All of these things come into play, and it doesn't mean that you didn't see what you saw.
Or there could have been 5 of them.
Could have been.
Yeah. I've seen the cigar-shaped one, and the cigar-shaped one I saw had windows.
Yeah, I had a guest on the show that was down in San Diego that saw a cigar, a tubular cigar-shaped craft up over the mountains in San Diego, and I think they said windows too. Actually, I would love to see one. I have no idea how that would fly.
We see lots of stuff.
What's that?
Here in Idaho. We see lots of stuff here in Idaho.
Yeah, that's where you are? You're in Idaho?
Yeah, near Boise. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the phone call, Dandy.
Thank you, and thank you, Chase.
Oh, thanks for calling. That was a great segment.
It's one of the things, and by the way, phone lines are now open, 323-825-5045. I had 2 or 3 calls. Listen, if you call in, stay there. Don't hang up. I will get to everybody. Just stay there. What do you think about the reports of cigar-shaped craft? Don't you always find that interesting, as opposed to triangles or saucer shapes and these round and spheres? The cigar shape to me is always one of the most intriguing.
I actually find the triangles, they're probably the ones that spark me all the time, but the shapes, what about the rectangle, or the square, things that just don't make sense to me. The cigar shape, I love it if it absolutely has no wings. But if you look at our new drone technology, dude, those little tiny wings on that big long nose, it looks like it's getting pretty close, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That crazy?
Drones flip me out. Let's just go to the next call. Here we go. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase Kloetzke. Who's calling?
Hi, Chase. Hi, Jimmy. This is Mark.
Hey, Mark. How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm great. You mentioned the cigar-shaped UFOs. Well, we had a sighting here in November 2012 out in our front yard, and it just kind of went on for like 3 days. But it was odd because the lights were in the sky, and then periodically there were also jets in the sky. But I guess it was at the end of the third night when the tube came through, and it was much larger than the other ones, much larger, and it was escorted by smaller UFOs when it went by. And these even the little ones would shoot, and they would shoot like they were shooting directly into another one, merging. I mean, it would be an impossible collision. But anyway, that's my tube UFO story.
Was it metallic? Was it metallic?
It was. That would be really hard to say because it was up pretty darn high. They were up so high that it was useless for us to try to photograph these things with the camera that we had. In fact, I actually didn't know that our little SLR would even shoot video until earlier this year.
Well, and Chase brought up a good point. The reason why I'm fascinated with the cigar shape is because it aerodynamically just doesn't make any sense. If it's ours, how is this thing flying? Unless it's a dirigible or some type of blimp, it's inflated with something. It just doesn't make any sense. But
none of these made any sense aerodynamically. The way they would shoot around erratically. It was a really weird thing because they were circling for like 3 nights. We'd go out there at night about 9 o'clock, and they'd be circling this whole area, and we're kind of like on the edge of the circle. But they would literally there'd be like 30 of them out at a time, and they'd be circling this whole area. And then at one point, we even saw one of them drop something that fell very slowly and was illuminated down, and it looked like it fell into the Siuslaw River over here in Florence, Oregon. That's where we are.
Interesting. Well, and back to my point, Chase brings up, rectangular, UFOs, and that's what's fascinating to me. I guess for some reason I can make sense out of a saucer flying. I don't know why, but it just makes sense. Maybe it's too many movies, but that makes sense. Or a triangular UFO, okay, we can kind of make sense. I'm talking about in a terrestrial, we created it sense. It logically in your mind, you can see them flying. But when we're talking, when we talk about cigar shape or rectangles, when I hear the rectangle one, that's when I really flip out. I always picture an aircraft carrier. How is that thing flying? It just doesn't make any sense. And that's when I completely go off world with this and the tubular cigar shape. Arthur C. Clarke in The Garden of Rama, Rama 2, Rama Revisited, all of his Rama books, Rendezvous with Rama. That was a tubular-shaped craft. Okay, that's what that was. And
this was a tube. It was not cigar shaped. It was actually flat on each end.
Right, that's the way Arthur C. Clarke portrayed it in Rama. And that's why I'm kind of really freaked out. I just go off-world with it immediately. Thank you for the call. Go ahead,
None
Mark.
of these made any noise at all either. The only thing that made any noises were when the jets came through. And at some points there were like jets that were like chasing them, and at other times it seemed like they were escorting them. But I've gotten to where now when I hear jets outside, I go outside to look for the UFOs.
Right?
Because that's usually well, I don't live under any kind of a flight path here for jets or commercial airlines. You know, any of the commercial jets, they're a few miles offshore and pretty high up in the air.
That's interesting too, because military jets, usually there are no fly zones over, heavily populated areas.
No, something's going on if a military jet is flying overhead, no doubt.
Well, it was after that, and we saw that thing drop down in the river. After that, there were all these government vehicles here in town, and they were actually searching through the forests. Some of them were, Tammy just yelled, tell them about the shooting pictures. Well, this was in daylight, but it was in the same period of time, and we went outside, and there was a military jet, and there was a UFO, and the jet shot something at this UFO, and it made this huge flash of light, an explosion. But again, all of this had no sound, and I was just completely perplexed, like, what is this? Am I seeing a hologram? Because how do you have a big explosion in the sky with no noise? How do you do that?
Interesting. Hey, Mark, thanks for the phone call, my brother. Give my best to Tammy.
Can I ask Kloetzke one question?
Yeah, real quick. I've got like 8 calls lined up here. Let's go.
All right, Chase, how many did you grow up with brothers? Because I go ahead.
I did not.
You did not?
No.
Okay.
All right, there's your answer.
That was the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase Kloetzke.
Hi, Chase. Hi, Jimmy. This is Carola up in Canada.
Oh, Carol from Winnipeg.
No, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, you're in Manitoba. Now, wait.
No, I'm in Alberta.
Oh, it's close enough. What's going on up there, Carol?
You know what? I can't find anything out, Jimmy.
No, you're my special reporter.
I will try. I'm trying. I was on the internet chasing down some other stuff last couple days, but now I'm going to get to work on this.
It's you've got to gather everything with. Okay, well, wait a minute. Forget about me. Let me ask you this: what are you hearing up there? Is Canada talking about it? Are they all abuzz?
Nobody's heard anything. Nothing's come out through the mainstream media or anything. I don't watch TV, so I don't know anything on the TV, but I've been looking at the papers and sitting, listening to people talking. No one's saying anything. But I do know people in Manitoba, and so I'm going to try and contact somebody over there.
Yeah, do us
and
that.
I'll call you back and let you know.
Do us that solid. We need to find out. The rumors about internet being shut down, phone service being shut down, witnesses being detained, cameras being confiscated, cell phone cameras. All of these are easily proven. So just find out what's the word on the street. That's what I want to know. I don't want to hear from mainstream media. I don't want to. You know what? I want to hear from people like you, because that's where the truth comes from.
All right, Jimmy, I'll do my best. You know what I wanted to talk to you about?
What do you got?
Last night on Coast to Coast, David Wilcock let fly a bomb that I was just like shocked. And he said since most of the Canadian population lives within 70 miles of the border, which is true, Jimmy.
Okay.
There's so much land, and every time anything gets found in Canada, they build a building over it, and underneath they'd study whatever it is that they're studying. And he said there's two groups of beings that have been held for thousands of years in stasis that have been found, and they're over 12 feet tall. And one group of over 50 of these guys woke up last week because there's a vibration coming from the center of the galaxy that's waking not just people up, but waking these guys up. And that's what he said on Coast last night, and I was like, what?
Wow. Okay. He hasn't said anything to me like that. Chase, again, I got to throw that over to you.
I really want to find big people. Like, I love the story of the giants and, you know, any kind of discovered species out there. I honestly don't know what to think with, you know, we in the kind of nuts and bolts community find that a little fringe theory. And again, you know, is it possible that there's, you know, a different species living underneath us? Well, of course it's possible. I just don't know. That's something, guys, that I really don't get too into.
Well, my take is, and I was talking about this last night on the show, is, or maybe it was the night before, is we had dinosaurs here. Okay, and we all know how big those suckers were. Some of them were ginormously, stupidly big. How can something that big live on Earth with our gravity the way it is? There's a reason why, Chase, Carol, you and I aren't 12 feet tall. It's called gravity. Gravity pulls us down. If gravity wasn't here, you know, I can only imagine if we were, imagine a baby being born in outer space in a weightless environment. What would happen to them? Their arms would, you know, you know, and I'm not trying to be morose or kind of, you know, sick or weird sounding, but what would happen if gravity wasn't affecting us with our height, pulling us down all of the time, right? Now, if dinosaurs lived here, what was the gravity situation back then? That's all I'm saying. Was the gravity just a little bit different? Not much, but just enough to allow dinosaurs to be able to walk. You know, that size of thing. Well, if that's the case, what if there was another race of humans 100 million years ago when gravity could have been not much, but just enough? What if there were a race of humans that was, you know, 12, 15, 20 feet tall? That's all that I'm saying. Is it possible? If the dinosaurs survived for hundreds of millions of years like they did, well, maybe gravity was a little bit different. I'm just saying. We're looking at stuff in our reality today. You know, we look at our 6 foot, 5 foot frames and what we're limited to by gravity. If gravity was just a little bit less, would we have been taller? That's all that I'm saying, and I'm throwing that out there.
I want to look for the giants. I love looking for the giants. I'm all about looking for, you know, but I'm looking for the ones that are more biblical, more the Nephilim,
right?
Going underground. You know, I just love this. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And for Wilcock to say that, you know, they're building buildings over something, and that's a pretty interesting view. Thank you so much. Hey, Carol, you've got some homework to do this week. Give me a call on Monday, okay?
I will.
I'll talk to you. Thank you, Carol.
Well, I like what Carol said, too, about the vibrations. You know, we hear a lot about the vibrations waking us up, and this is how we're going to get, you know, and vibrations, again, are what? It's a physics. It's a physics on, you know, how we're going to get through. How you hear the stories of aliens taking people out of, you know, their bedrooms through walls and windows.
Right.
You know, and of course we laughed 25 years ago, and now they're like, well, wait a minute. You know, that's possible. We can't do it yet.
Right.
But theoretically, we figured out how it's done. What? Oh, I'm just like,
I know.
It's so
I know.
crazy.
Yeah, I feel like we're a couple of years away from that. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase Kloetzke.
Hello, Chase. This is Robin Perump.
It's Robin? Oh, Rob.
In Perump.
Hey, hey, Robin Perump. How are you tonight, sir?
Good, good. I just wanted to tell you about what I saw. You mentioned rectangular spaceships.
Yes.
Well, what I saw was so big, I couldn't even determine the shape of it, but it looked like it was rectangular. It was about 3 treetops high. Now, I'm a skydiver, so I know what 1,000 feet looks like. I know what 3,000 feet looks like. That thing was under 1,000 feet, and it was so big, just covered the whole sky, and it moved so slow. It was hard to imagine anything could move that slow. And there was 4 of us. We just stood up and stood there watching this thing for about 10 minutes, going across the sky, and nobody thought to grab a camera.
You know, you never do. That is so common when people are like, it was right there and I didn't even think I have a camera. And then I'm like, well, did you have a cell phone? Even worse.
Yeah,
you know what
right,
I mean?
right.
Everyone's got a camera on their cell phone. When you're looking at something so extraordinary that's not supposed to exist, you had absolutely the right. You know, you just stare at it. You can't take your eyes off it. It's strange. It's yeah.
You don't have to feel guilty about that. I had a sighting about 1.5 years, 2 years ago right here in the valley. Watched it for 10, 15, 20 minutes with the whole group of guys. We were all there, all armed with cell phones and everything else. None of us filmed it. And we watched it in the middle of the day, and we watched it disappear up into the atmosphere. It took forever. And we stood there, and it was funny because one of the guys walked outside, and I'm walking by, and he's looking up, and I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Man, you're not watching the UFO?" He said it to me. And I look up, and I was like, holy crap, it's right there. And we all stood there. There's 5, 6, 7 of us. We all watched it. And when it was done, I didn't film it. Oh, man. So I get it. We all get it. We all do.
I couldn't get over how slow it was moving and staying up there, you know? It just...
Hey, Rob, well, let me ask you this. You're in Pahrump, you know, one of the most famous places. You're right there. Yep. You're right there. You got Area 51.
I'm about 50 miles from Area 51.
Do you see stuff every single day?
I haven't seen a thing since I moved here in July. This is what I've seen, what I just told you about, I seen in Ventura when I lived in Ventura.
I've heard the same thing. Yes.
I've lived here since July, and I'm looking too.
I know you are.
I drive by there on the 95. You know, the back gate, and haven't seen. I've seen them testing something one day, and these black smoke streaks going across the sky, and I seen this. It looked like a drone flying around. You know, right over the mountains, right where Area 51 was. But other than that, I haven't seen anything. But I'm looking.
Thank you so much for the call, Rob. Thank you so much. You have a great night.
You too.
Let's just keep going through them. You ready, Chase?
I am.
Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Chase Kloetzke. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Hey, Chase, it's Skater Lisa from San Francisco.
Yes.
I'm so excited. When I heard Lisa, I'm thinking, I wonder if it's, and it is.
Yes. Hello, Chase.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so good with my fader knots in the sandbox. Holla, holla.
Yeah, I was just excited that you were hanging out in the sandbox, and then when Jimmy announced you were co-hosting, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, we kept the lid on it. It was hard, too, because we had a couple of friends that knew, and I was like, man, everybody just keep your mouth shut, okay? Everybody try to behave.
And, zip, 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 zip.
Yep. So what have you got tonight, Lisa, for Chase?
Well, kind of on an unrelated, kind of related subject. I had something really strange happen between last night and this morning, and I just wanted to run it by you guys and see what you thought. I checked my emails last night, and I'm waiting on a couple things to be delivered, and I received the emails with the tracking information, and one of them told me that the package had just left the post office from the original location. And this morning when I got up and I went to check my email to see how far it had gotten, the emails were gone, both of them. And I checked my trash, even though I didn't think I threw them out. They weren't there. I double-checked and triple-checked my emails, and they weren't there. And I went to one of the websites, and I found the tracking number, so I was able to look up that one item. And when I looked it up, it said the item had just been picked up from the seller. It said nothing about the post office and nothing like the emails that I read the night before. And it just struck me as weird. I don't know if people are able to retrieve emails from that have already, especially if they've already been received and read, or if I woke up like on a parallel universe where everything is just slightly different.
Right.
Where I went to sleep, it reached the post office and left the post office, and where I woke up, it hadn't made it to the post office yet.
I really want a parallel universe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Lisa,
it can be a little unsettling.
Well, you know what? And when stuff,
Yes.
When stuff like that happens, you don't want to go down the conspiracy dark side because it's too easy to go. It's just too. When that happens, you're like, okay, all right, here we go. So
right.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to go with there's a logical explanation to it. And I'm going to go with this because it's too easy to go down the wrong road on this and let your mind wander. I'm going to say this. It was the wrong tracking number, computer glitch. It was entered, and it was somebody else's package. And then when it got rescanned, this is me. I had something similar to this happen. And it was the wrong tracking information that was sent. They found the actual package. They went back to your original email and had it unsent and pulled back. That's what I think happened. Okay, that's what do you understand what I'm saying? I think there's a total logical...
That's rational.
Yes.
Yes, and logical. But I've had things like this similar, kind of weird times that things happen before, and I've learned to just kind of go with it. Not get freaked out by it. Just kind of like, oh, that's interesting.
Yep. Well, Rita and I had sent out some packages a few months ago, and one of the packages, and you can ask Rita about this in Twitter, DM her, and it showed delivered, and I'm like, wait a minute, it was just. There was something weird with it, but it could not have gone across the country that fast. And so we contacted that person, and they said, no, it's not here yet. And it showed received and we were freaking out because it was something that was really cool. And it turned out 2 days later, package showed up, and we got the same identical message 2 days later. That it had been received. So, don't freak out yet, okay?
I won't freak out. I'm just kind of like, that was weird.
I know. It's too easy to go down that road, isn't it? It really, especially when it comes to tracking packages. Oh, man. That's already...
Well, thank you. I like your explanation for it. That makes sense.
Yep. There's so many things getting scanned. So many things on planes. How could they not mess up all the time? Not once, all the time.
Right.
So now, if if the package shows up at your house tomorrow and it's not the one that you ordered, leave it on the front porch.
Okay, I won't touch it.
All right, Lisa. You have a great night.
All right, thanks. You too, Jimmy. And take care, Chase. So good to hear your voice.
Yours
over the
too,
phone,
Lisa.
even.
You got it. Thank you so much, Lise.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Let's just. I'm gonna continue in order here, even though we're at the top of the hour. I was gonna take a little break. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Say hi to Chase.
Hi, Chase. Hi, Jimmy. It's Trish from Cape Town, South Africa. I can't believe I got through.
Oh, you're Tricia from South Africa. How are you?
That's right, all the way from Cape Town. I'm very well, thank you. Very happy to be talking to you.
Yeah.
Tell you what a wonderful show you put on, Jimmy. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, Tricia. And I wanted to ask you, what time is it there? It's 9:00 here in California in the evening. What time is it there?
It's almost 7 a.m. I do two different jobs. Sometimes I'm up really early in the morning. I get to listen to you live like today. So I have to wake up at 5 o'clock or before to listen to you.
Oh, man.
Otherwise, I have to listen later.
Thank you so much, Tricia. What have you got for Chase so early in the morning?
What do I do? I'm an artist, and then in between I run an airport shuttle service. So I take people to the airport for early flights.
Oh, okay. Okay, Tricia. Do you have a question for Chase?
Yeah. I don't actually. What I would like to suggest to you, though, if you have time when you do your research, is look into one of our South African shamans by the name of Credo Mutwa.
Oh, we all know who he is. Oh, of course.
Do you? Okay. Because he has written some amazing things, and a lot of what you say over all different genres kind of links back to some of the stuff that he's been saying for at least the last 20 years or more. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Tricia, I have listened to so many of his interviews where he has sat and has tried to get all of his information out, because he's like the only one. I don't know what's going to happen when he leaves this earth and moves on. What we're going to do. It's going to be very tragic.
But he's most vociferous. He shares it more. But there was a lot of overlap in all the. We have 11 languages in this country and a whole lot of different tribes. And there's a whole lot of overlap between the folklore with the spoken legends.
Yes.
Spoken history. It's really interesting. I don't know enough about it. I would imagine someone like Michael Tellinger would know more.
Michael Tellinger has
spent... Lovely talking to you, Jimmy.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
Tricia. All the best.
Have a lovely show. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How do you like that, Chase? South Africa.
I know. It's so sweet. And... yeah, that's just amazing. Amazing.
She writes me all the time, and she's listening to the show all the time, like she is now. And I'm just she's not the only one from South Africa either. That's the crazy thing. I don't know if it's her and all her friends or what, but we have a very large South Africa. Well, the audience is worldwide, but her. The interviews that Michael Tellinger has done with that shaman are just mind-bending. You sit there and you listen to what this guy has to say, going back thousands of years, and everything it's not written down. It's all spoken and handed down generation after generation. And he's the last in the bloodline now. And Michael Tellinger is doing everything that he can. There are hundreds of hours of his stuff online, and it's mesmerizing. I just can't get enough of it. Is this Dino?
Yes, it is. Good evening, Jimmy. Good evening, Chase.
Hey, Dino.
Very clear voice. Love hearing you, and I love the variety tonight. Stick with me a minute. I'm going to fold into what we've been talking about. But I've been doing my the evil 3-letter paperwork the last 2 days. I'm just done now. And it gets me thinking because I enjoy the program so much. I try to contribute to the program so much and pick the minds of the guests. But, it kind of depresses me at a time because when you do your taxes here in America and you realize that some of this may be going out to things that you don't really support, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I hear the positive messages of certain UFO nauts and people talking about Pleiadians and positive messages, they're here to help us. And then we go to the other extreme and we've got, David Icke and people telling us that there are people here before us and species that maybe don't wish us the best and want to enslave us.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Yes, I don't like to get too depressed, but in the show Jimmy makes the program so fun most of the time, but we do have a serious side, and I try to we have to keep our heads up. I try to not get depressed. Sometimes when I have to get up for work early in the morning and it's dark and I look around and I think, is this all for naught? I'm paying these taxes. I'm going to work. I still need to work for a few more years. I don't really own my house. I'm a wage slave. If I don't pay, then the bankers take it back. And it makes me wonder, we keep seeking for the truth here on a program like this. And at Contact in the Desert, that everybody's got their point of view. I'm looking for some homogeneity. I'm looking for a reason to continue living for all of us, Full disclosure is one of the things that I talk about often, and yet so many people say they're not going to tell you, it's going to be covered up. And it makes me wonder, how much of this is true? How much of these ships are a secret space program? How many of them are other species from off-world? And how many of them are from right here? And it bakes my brain sometimes. I can't deal with it. I don't know what you think. You're younger than me, but what do you think about all this?
Honestly, you just summed up the 10 minutes right before I go to bed every night, what rattles through my head. No, you're absolutely right. And sometimes when we're in such eclectic or deep subjects, I mean, what we're dealing with here is, not just the crazy, kooky, what they want to make us out, 10 years ago, I was a crazy lady down the road that chased UFOs. Now I'm the hottest chick on the block, thank you all the television shows, but not that I've been in, but it's a good topic right now. Everybody wants to talk. And this is a good thing. However, with that comes, that serious-minded person like yourself, obviously science-minded, who's really trying to determine big life answers. I can tell you that I seriously kind of feel burdened by them every once in a while myself. Sometimes I'm frustrated. And I know this is going to sound probably a little cheerleader or but like the donut with the sprinkles on it better than the mature plain one. My favorite color is glitter. It's just a reminder to me that it's a choice every day to find the enjoyment out of something I can control. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just
to take responsibility and to do something, to go out and do something rather than giving into the fear.
Yes, or to be so burdened. Because when it comes to all the aliens are good and they're going to come and save us, man, I hope that's true. And I hope we're all going to grow up and we're all going to vibrate and become better. But I can tell you over 20 years, heavily embedded in the field, that's not what our evidence is showing. Because to believe that dismisses the tens of thousands of reports of people that are saying something completely different. But what I propose to everybody listening right now, why does it have to be one or the other? Why does it have to be either just good or just bad? Why does it have to be just extraterrestrial with no consideration to supernatural and dimensions? Are we so limited that we have to pick one or the other? This world is so vast. And like the last thing I tell myself is, hey, I'm here blind on this earth for a reason. I just got to get through this to get to where I'm supposed to be next. And maybe I'm not supposed to know that. And maybe my lesson was to learn to enjoy blind, if that makes any sense.
No, that's exactly the point. Hey, Dino, thank you for the call, my brother.
Well, I know you have other people on, but I wanted to say that when we look at the hardware, and we know that's hardware, we look at the spiritual, and some of those things are. We had a guest on a couple of nights ago who was so wound up by all of it that, she couldn't contain herself, talking about everything. And I guess what gets me is when I hear someone like Kerry Cassidy interview these people that are in the dark, that are trying to whistleblow, and when I hear that one of my favorite people, Robin Williams, is possibly being taken out because of what he was connected to a guy that was with the secret space program, that's when it just it blows my mind and I get mad, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, Dino.
And Dino, just pick the donut with the sprinkles on it tomorrow. It's a choice. No, it's a choice, guys. It's to be a little silly and lighten up your spirit a little, and your soul will feel better.
Thank you.
Yes, well, I try to be when I'm chatting. I try to be light. But anyhow, thank you for being on. We'll be looking forward to meeting you at some point in the future.
Thanks, you, Dino.
Good night.
Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Say hi to Chase Kloetzke.
Chase, good evening.
Hey, who's this?
This is Walter from Sacramento.
Hey, Walter! Oh, no. How are you tonight, sir?
Mr. Jimmy Church, I have a new number.
And that's so you'd answer this time.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Oh, Walter. How are you tonight, sir? Everything good?
Everything's great. I had a couple of topics. Lisa's call was awesome, and I'm humbled to follow Dino. He's such a incredible force.
He was sweet, wasn't he?
Dino's the best.
Oh, yeah. I want sometime to be on at the same time with Dino if it ever can happen.
Well, I think I can make that happen.
He's the magic man.
I wanted to bring up Ceres, the dwarf planet.
Oh, yeah, Ceres.
Oh, Ceres, yes, I'm sorry. Ceres, the dwarf planet, and the probe they're sending out there, and the bright visible lights. What do you think they are?
Oh, my gosh. One of my little favorite projects. And when you think that they didn't just send a probe out there, if you look up MIT fleet drones, you'll see they just sent a friggin' fleet of surveillance drones to that area. MIT, the institutions that scoff at the UFO hunters, is now looking for them. They just need to call me. I'll let them know that, that's a good place to be. But anyway, honestly, Sirius has been in the predictions of where they come from since Anunnaki, right?
Right.
So to me, it just seems so incredible. And this is what captures my attention, is that you have way back here, you have right up until today, some reason this star system is so important to us and us to them. And, that may be exactly where it's coming from. I love the whole thing. I don't know enough about to give you a very educated answer to your question. But what I think about them is pay attention. And again, when you have institutions in the government and Project Lucifer, let's not forget the Vatican's watching, that sector, we probably want to look over there ourselves, right?
Right. So I'm wondering when the feed will get cut. I'm wondering when the pictures of that dwarf planet will stop coming. Or will they just be doctored, like NASA likes to do?
Yeah, the problem that I have, and I know, Walter, you've heard me comment on this the last couple of days, the problem that I have is the claim of that it's reflecting light off of ice. How far can light, affect ice that much that it would reflect back and be captured like that on a camera?
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I keep making these jokes. It's the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul. Because the two lights are so close together, whatever it is. That is pretty remarkable to me. I don't know what the excuses are going to be, because dawn is supposed to close in inside of 300 miles on the orbit. Now, we're going to definitely find out exactly what it is, but the whole thing about it being light reflected, I just have a hard time digesting that one.
Exactly. And again, explain how that light's reflecting off ice back here, that we could capture. Don't you think that wouldn't you like to just see the guy that sits in the room that comes up with this stuff?
Yeah, totally.
Like even our astronauts, we'll see something out there. Dude, they just saw. Tell him it's a screwdriver.
Right.
It's a screwdriver. Well, who dropped the screwdriver?
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just tell them anything, they'll buy it.
Yeah. And, some of these theories make sense, and it may even explain some of them. But every time, it's like the swamp gas. That was awesome. Thank you very much for that gift, Air Force.
Yeah, right. I still haven't seen, I'm waiting to see my first swamp gas.
Well, the best thing is go down, like when I was down in the swamps of Louisiana, try to tell those boys that, they're fifth generation, Pearl River swamp, that's swamp gas. They'll be happy to take you out and show you some for real.
Yeah. Well, Google swamp gas. If you Google, you Google anything and click on images. I don't care what you put in there. You could put in Hot Wheels car tire, and you're going to have 10,000 Google images pop up. Google swamp gas and click on images. You get like 2. And that's it. I mean, nobody's ever seen swamp gas, and it's not even real. It's a made-up term. I'm going to get email tomorrow so much about that. Jimmy, there's swamp gas everywhere. No, there's not. I've never seen it, and that's the end of the story. There is no such thing as swamp gas. But, light reflecting off of ice on Ceres. That's what we're seeing. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I just have a hard time with that. Thank you, Walter. All the best, my brother, and I'm going to see you in a couple of months, man.
Yay.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You got it, Walter.
Thanks, Chase.
Bye, Walter. Thanks.
I'm going to tell you, Chase, one day the conversation Walter and I had while drinking shots in a hotel room at an undisclosed location. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Chase. This is K28 from Porter Ranch.
Oh, K28. Yay! How are you, K?
I'm doing fine. How are you two doing?
We're obviously great.
That's great.
Yeah, things are good.
What do you got tonight, Kay?
Linda Moultonhouse on tonight on Coast to Coast, in case you didn't know.
Oh, I don't even get. Jimmy, please ask Race Hobbs to play you something later that he's got. You will be on the floor. But, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let that go. It sounds too inviting.
Yeah, it's really good. It has to do with that whole topic. But Linda's on Coast to Coast. Was she talking about?
Kay? Did we lose Kay? We lost Kay.
Dang it!
All right, we'll wait for. We lost Kay. We'll wait for Kay to call back. She's going to be on with us. Oh, here he is. Let's grab him. Kay, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back with you.
Yeah, we lost you for a minute. She's going to be on with us next Tuesday. I think Linda's going to be on with us.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
the main reason I'm.
Oh, go ahead, Kay. It's your night, man. It's Fader night. It's all about you, my brother.
Yeah. Now, how does Chase like being a Fader not?
How do I like being a Fader not? It is like the coolest thing ever. In fact, I love it so much. I'm telling Race about it. I'm like, Race, you got to be a Fader not, man. You have got to join to be a Fader not. So I swear to you guys, I hope he doesn't get mad and kill me for this. He's like, Chase, this is really fun. This is like a lot of, I'm telling you, Fader nots friggin' rule. And I can't even explain it. I can't explain the phenomena, but I'm in it and I love it. And yes, Kay.
You get your badges yet?
I don't have, what?
Oh, man. Kay, you're fired. Clean out your desk. Clean out your desk.
OMG. I do not have a badge. Where's Les?
Les.
Where's my Lisa?
Man.
Les.
We'll get you your official Fader Not badge. Method is listening right now, too. He's the creator of the badges.
The badge.
I right now, my studio.
I'm out of the sandbox. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Check this out. I'm in a black studio right now. It's all dark in here, and I just lit it up with my redness of my face. So just thank you, Method, or thank you, Kay. We'll get you a Fade or Not badge. You'll have your own official Chase Kloetzke Fade or Not badge.
I hope so, because like I'm almost crying. Just saying.
Well, you got to wear it though.
Yes, you will see pictures of me wearing it.
Yeah, this whole Fade or Not thing, when it kicked off last year, the Fade or Nots came up with their own name. They had all these different names, and they came up with Fade or Nots, and then it just like hit the ground running and took off. And I watched it happen in real time. It was just something that happened. You can't, it's like this, Chase, and I'll say this to you, Kay, and all of the Fade or Nots out there. One of the things that people ask me about all the time is the Sunset Strip in the 80s. What was it like to be there? And people have tried to recreate it. You can't. It was a moment in time that happened with the people that were there, and it was a magical moment. You can't force things to happen.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
can't force it. And the Fade or Nots and this show and everything, the Fade or Not, it was a moment in time that happened, and you can't just go and force something. You can't go create it yourself. And if you're listening to me and you're the host of another show and you're like, man, we got to create Fade or Nots. We got to come up with our own name. Let's do. You can't do it. It happens.
No,
it happens
exactly.
by itself. It's just something that that happens. People got together. They saw that the people to the left and to the right and in front of them and back of them were just like them, and they were all here because they were like each other. And they created their own family, and they're not going to let it go. And that's it. That's what the Fade or Nots are.
It's so awesome. And, it kind of reminds me, and well, this is a little different, but you're right. It's why I call it a phenomena. You can't duplicate it. You can't conjure these things and make them up. That's exactly, it's just magic. It just happened. But, then you've got your Dolanites. Richard Dolan has like rabid fans, and I'm one of them, by the way. I have my Team Dolan shirt. But there's just certain people that, people are drawn to, or shows or certain topics, and there's just a little magic within that little sector, and that's exactly what Fade or Nots are. And I'm part of them. Of course, I can't prove it because I don't have no freaking badge.
Check this out, Chase. Brad Kelly, who's been with us since the beginning, he just tweeted, don't forget, at one point, they were crackheads. Because I used to say, I still say it, let's get cracking. And crackheads was one of the first names. They actually ran with crackheads for a couple of days. I'm like, we got to back off that one. It's your show. It's your game. I get it. And if you guys want to go with that, but man, you need to rethink this one a little bit. But yeah, it was crackheads for a couple of days.
Well, I'm excited because, I've been on your episode tonight for a while, and I haven't pooped in the sandbox once. Remember that one?
Yeah, right.
Last show, I'm like, uh-oh. I got called out on Twitter.
Oh, man. Check this out. I'm just looking. I'm at 2,026 tweets tonight have come through on my feed. 2,026. I'm gonna go to the other screen here. Spreaker now is up to what is that? 795 comments in Spreaker. That's insane to me. It's insane. It is so cool. I just can't believe it. It is just and I ignored Spreaker tonight. Hello, everybody that's over in Spreaker in the chat room over there. Isn't it? It's crazy. It is just, it's such a humbling thing to see every single night. Everybody that is of like mind, that is hanging out, and it's just so cool and so friendly.
Well, even just to be a fadernaut, Race was talking about, oh my gosh, Chase, it really is active and friendly. And Walter, oh my gosh, my heart is still like, oh, Walter.
Walter's the bomb.
I love him.
You know what K28 just did? Claudette Huber just tweeted. I know. Claudette just tweeted.
Everyone knows me. I love my Claudette.
She just said, "Where's my badge?" Thank you, Kay.
Hey, you're welcome. Here, Fadernauts go all the way back to antiquity. Just tell her about that.
What's that? What's that? Oh, yeah.
Fadernauts and antiquity. You don't even have to explain it. I so got that.
There's this hieroglyphics wall that that K28 created out of hieroglyphics and actual hieroglyphics, and then you go and you read it, and you see Fadernauts, you see Jimmy Church. What else is in there on the wall?
Fade to black.
Fade to black.
Fade to black.
Yep.
So cool.
You have to see it. Somebody tweeted out so Chase can see it.
One of the Fadernauts actually just took the Fadernaut portion and carved that out and posted it as their very own avatar.
Oh, there you go. I haven't seen that one yet either.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. It was one of the women Fadernauts. So.
Yeah, Mine Cemetery just tweeted to Chase, I like that. If you're going to go down the road, have fun doing it. Oh, yeah, here it is.
I was just going to say, as serious-minded as really my work is, and anybody that's been in the field with me will say that I am tenaciously focused, and nothing gets in my way of making sure that we hit our goal. It's called it's a high performance mindset I get into, and we've just got to take it easy and just have some fun out here. We really do, and enjoy each other and our friends and our colleagues, and not get all caught up in the darkness of it all, because these rabbit holes, they are deep.
So deep, and it's so easy to one of our close friends here on the show a few months ago just got a couple of weird phone calls. He was in a part of the country that's close to Washington, D.C., and a couple of weird things happened, and he was just like, man, you know what? I got to back off this. I'm just scared of my research. I'm scared of what I'm texting and what I'm searching in Google and my phones, and he just got freaked out. He went down the rabbit hole a little bit, and I think he went a little bit too far. Not with his own mind. It's that,
right.
Yeah, but when he starts to see other things reacting around him in his life, and it kind of freaked him out. The rabbit hole can be a very disturbing place. It can.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something that happened to me. This was about 1995, 1996. And I went to, in my little rabbit hole ufology research, and I started to go a little left, a little right, as you're going through. And I got into this fringe subject matter about ufology. And I went to a website, and I don't know how this happened, but as I'm on the website, this is back in 1995, 96. I'm like on AOL or Mosaic or something. And I got this email, and then something popped up on my screen and said that we're watching you and you can't come back to this website. And I thought, oh, that's a bunch of bogus stuff. And my computer restarted, my laptop. And I was like, what's going on? And I could not get that website back. I almost backed off of what I was doing. It freaked me out. I didn't want to go there again. I don't know how it happened, and I still don't. And my knowledge of the internet today, I'm wondering if that is possible today to have happen. But it did, and that's all I can say. And it was going down that rabbit hole. It freaked me out.
Yeah. To me, the scariest thing out here are the gossipers, the ones that will spread like bull crap stories. My favorite are UFO investigators that want to, talk crap about someone else. And, well, I heard they did this. Well, did you call them and ask them? Well, no. And my first thought is, well, what kind of investigator are you then? Like, who does that, right?
Yeah, right.
That reacts to information they haven't vetted. It's like, yeah, really, when your phone's not ringing, that's going to be me. You know what I mean? To me, it's the people that come after you, the people that are, mean, and, you say something even inadvertently, and they make it their life's blood. They're the ones I'm afraid of on social network. That scares me more than anything, because, I don't know. Like, sometimes people just hate you and will think of a reason later. And
Right.
so, that's another reason that having Fadernauts and colleagues and, being a team player out here makes all the difference, because now we circle our wagons and we help each other and we guard each other. And, but to me, the rabbit holes are scary, but sometimes, there's that little culture growing of, eating your own, and we don't want it. We don't want it.
Yeah, and there's such a prevalence now, and I don't understand why. I know some of it, or if not all of it, is revenue driven. But there are so many websites now that are parody websites that are, they think it's funny to report on a story and make it seem that it's true.
Yeah.
I went to a website the other day. Why? Because the link that I was sent said Drudge Report. And I went, really? Okay. Well, you know what? We all know about Drudge, and pretty much everything is spot on, and it's well researched, and it's one of the most heavily trafficked and respected websites in the world. And so I click. And I go over, and I'm thinking I'm reading. I'm not even going to tell you what it was about, but it had to do with ISIS. And I'm reading the story, and I'm like, this is the most incredible. Should be. So I immediately went to CNN. I went to Fox. I went to MSN. I did a Google search on the subject matter, and I saw Huffington Post. I saw something else. A couple of other respected sites were reporting on the story, and I clicked on it, and it was there. And I thought, how could this be possible? And I put it up on Facebook, and somebody immediately came back and said, dude, this is a parody site. And I went back, I backed off of the story, I went and did some research, and the Drudge site that I was on wasn't the real Drudge site. I go to Drudge Report. I was like, oh, that's right. Well, I know what Drudge Report looks like when you go there.
Oh, we've all been caught like that at least once, Jimmy.
And I'm thinking to myself, now, look, I get this, Chase, I get this every single day. We all do here at Fade to Black. We're getting hundreds of emails a day with news stories that people want covered when I read the news every night. And I went and I looked, and sure enough, it's a parody Drudge site. I don't know why Drudge doesn't have the site pulled down, but and it's all a bunch of hoaxed and fictitious, and they defend their right to freedom of speech with the word satire.
Yes.
It's satire. Well, you know what? Not everybody knows the difference between satire and what is real. And you go and you post this kind of stuff, there are too many people out there that read this as being real news. And that's where we've got to, if they put at the top of the site, this is a satire site. Okay, no harm, no foul. Let's go there and read fun. Like The Onion, theonion.com. Go to The Onion. You know it's all parody, and it's all funny, and it's great stuff, and let's go there and have a good laugh. But if you don't do that, then you are purposefully deceiving a gullible mind, like my own.
Yeah, it's crazy. The internet has given us so many advantages and disadvantages at the same time when it comes to vetting information, or, you know, I guess we just keep plugging away and just pushing out the good stuff. And
Yeah, Chase, let's take 5. Let's take a break. We've been running for almost 2 straight hours without a break. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with Chase Kloetzke and taking your calls right after this. Stay with us, Chase. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. 323-825-5045. Taking your calls when we get back. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? My name's Brian Taylor, Ninja Badass Extraordinaire, and this is JimmyChurchRadio.com.
JJCR in your face.
JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Man, oh man, I had to run back into the studio. I picked the wrong break. I picked a 30-second break. I was like, oh, no.
I actually just ran back to my seat, too. I'm like, oof.
Oh, man, I didn't even make it to the bathroom. I just went, oh, no. So much for that. I got to hold it in now for the last segment here. All right, that opens up the phone lines. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. We cleared them out. They're back open. 323-825-5045. We're talking to Chase Kloetzke tonight, our special surprised guest host. And what a great idea this was. You know, Chase, I got to come on Fate. And do you take calls over at Fate?
I do not take calls on Fate. It's only an hour, but I'm sure we can work something out.
I mean,
coming over to Fate.
Man, how do you do an hour? That's one of two things for me. One, you can just absolutely pack in the information and go at it. And two, it must go by like it was nothing. And
yes.
At the end of it all, you're like, man, I should have said this. I should have said that. And you don't have enough time to get all of your thoughts out. Is that how it normally goes?
It is. And I've had to learn to really, just ask some driving questions, really organize my thoughts when I come in and kind of get to the point. Why did I bring that guest on? And what's the main topic that, they want to talk about and vice versa. And we just really just dig in and kind of get rid of all the little stuff. Because it's not even a whole hour because we have a break and we also have intros, outros, coming in back from break, segues, all that stuff. And
right.
So it really is about 40 minutes, maybe 45, which is.
Yeah, that's.
Ba-ching.
Yeah. And not only that, I read the news every night and I go through with the producers here. We'll line up 20, 25 news stories. And then I pick out the best of the best and the things that I think are cool. There's always one mainstream story we've got to cover. And then, we choose. I could do now that eats up our first half hour. And I can't seem to shorten it. In other words, I could do an hour of news in the blink of an eye. There's that much stuff to cover every single day, and I'm trying to cut that back. I don't have time now to read email. I used to read 4 or 5 emails a night, and I would do 1 or 2 news stories, and it's just kind of shifted its way around. But it's really weird. I don't have enough time in the show. I get enough feedback every single day from people saying, you know what, Jimmy, I love it when you read the news every single night. I love it. I dial in for that. And then I'll listen to the guests, but I dig the news part. And I dig the news part too, because it's usually stories that you just don't find in the mainstream. And we work really hard at presenting that every single night. But I find myself now completely running out of time. I don't know how you get an hour in and out
Oh my gosh! And who is my first guest? Robert Schock.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and it worked. It was a really, you just kind of get in there, and we talked about actually, only a little bit about Göbekli Tepe, and we talked mostly about, other research that he's doing, but. You just kind of dig in there, and it's just kind of hit and run, and you get the good stuff, and it's crazy. But I know that you are on it when it comes to stories. So Jimmy, please tell me that you're if you haven't done it yet, I know you're paying attention. The Malibu, the friggin' sea, the little sea wolves. What do they call those little pups? Those
the sea
lions.
otters, or the lions, or the otters.
Yes, the otters and the lions, and they're washing up to shore by the hundreds.
Yes.
And I can't look at the videos or read the stories because any abuse to like a little animal like that affects me physically. It makes me sick. I can't stop thinking about it for days. It ruins me. So I can't watch the videos, but they're dying. They're starving.
Yep.
They're coming to shore. They're, is it poison from our oceans? Is it Fukushima?
Yep.
I hope you're focused on that. And to just.
Well, when you drive up the coast here, there's a couple of spots between here and, I'm trying to think of the next city up, like Big Sur. It's around Big Sur. And as you drive up the coast, there's a couple of spots where they hang out. And you can pull over and you can walk down, and they're right there. I mean, I wouldn't go up and pet any of them or do anything, but they're right there. And they're all over the coast. They're all over San Francisco and so forth. And it's such a fixture of this part of California and America in general that it's just heartbreaking because the families are there. They're amazing creatures, and it's just it's a heartbreaking situation here over on the coast. And am I going to report? You know what? It's one of those things where it rips my heart out, and I hate to talk. I hate to go dark. It just bums me out. It bums me out. That bums me out. Obviously, what's going on with the hostages over in Syria and all of these videos. It's a dark subject that I don't really like reporting on. I don't.
Yeah.
It just bums me out. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Tammy. Are your eyes yellow yet?
Yeah.
Oh, yay, Tammy.
Hey, Tammy, how are you?
I'm pretty good, hon. I've never got to talk to Chase, and I wasn't feeling good the first night she was on, but I'm so glad she's on tonight. If you'll let me ask some questions, maybe you can take that quick minute break you need.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead.
All right.
It's so cute.
Hey,
Hi,
Chase,
Tammy.
I am so excited about the work you do. I mean, it's like, to me, you're a real inspiration to all of us, male and female alike, for what, you got into this. How long before you became a UFO explorer did you actually know that's what you wanted to do?
Yes. Honestly, from the time I was 16 years old, I read a book, Eric von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods, and this is the 70s. Boy, I just blew it like, bam, everybody's doing the math.
Yep.
But honestly, I was blown away to ask these kind of questions, and I'd never heard anything like this, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Tammy, it was like permission for me to start asking these and say out loud these things that, in my head. And this guy was asking these questions that blew me away. Every one of them, I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. And, I really got hooked on not being afraid to think out of the box, not be afraid to, walk up to the edge and kind of tap over, maybe look over, see if you could get it. You know what I mean? It's just, I loved it. So from the beginning, for sure.
When I went to school, I was an Army brat, same as Jimmy. I've been all over, and it was during Vietnam. So basically, we had a different kind of school. We all ended up in the gym of the military guys before we could go to a military school. And they had these videos of dinosaurs and stuff like that. I love dinosaurs. But the spaceships, I learned about a little later on in life. And I was just going, whoa. Mark called earlier and told you about some of the things we've seen, but there is one that he's not mentioned and I haven't mentioned, which was going really, really slow. It looked sideways. And Mark went to bed early. I started pounding on the bedroom window going, Mark, get out here. You got to see this. He comes out like a half an hour later going, what? He knows when I'm excited. He needs to run out, right? Typical guy.
Yeah.
So I tell him about it, and he goes, well, if it was going to crash, it would have crashed. And then all of a sudden, we hear this more like a metal rubbing metal sound, or going in between rocks. And I'm going, what was that? And he looked at me and goes, you seen it, I didn't. It was so funny. But so you knew since you were 16 this is what you wanted to do. How did you find the people to get involved in your dream? I mean, to me, this is totally inspirational.
Oh, thank you. Actually, it was, just as you kind of grow and get more opportunities through independence of things like vehicles and graduating and, moving around a little bit. Finding people back then was really hard. I don't think it wasn't until like the late 80s, early 90s, because I didn't even join MUFON until 1996. However, I was hanging with MUFON investigators and working with them at 1994. So, finding these people, it was a little more difficult, but, in the groups. But that's when I would go because Ed and Lorraine Warren were giving a lecture at University of Rhode Island. So I'd go to that. And then you'd hear about this other, new book at the library. And these are things that, we just did back in the day. And, one thing led to another. And really, I spent 18 years in MUFON before I was accepted the position as STAR team manager. And for 18 years, I'm just a little field investigator, which is the heart and soul, and they know that. But, it was, honing in skills and, still working Department of Defense. And, pretty soon, all my little jobs and all my little interests all melted into one.
My dream was to become a veterinarian as well as a police officer to protect the kids and the animals, and I'm still there, still doing it. But most people don't have the courage to follow their dream, and I see you going at it, and I see your enthusiasm. Some people get into a position and they're like, oh, I'm stuck here now. I wish I would have known this. But you have the enthusiasm, and that is so inspirational for so many people. I wish that somehow, someday, you can do like maybe some school talks. And there's a lot of people, even kids still look up. I always did. I still do every day.
Kids.
For those kids that. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but kids are so fascinating because, UFOs are all over their culture. It's in their, cartoons and video games and little books. And, I'm not trying to, promote my stuff here, but I wrote a children's book. It's called Are Aliens Really Real? And I don't even like saying that because this is actually my grandson asked me these questions.
Oh, I have great nieces and nephews that would love it. My great niece, actually, she says, people tease me about unicorns and UFOs, and I said, well, they're real. And it's my pride and joy. So I have to get it for her. I have to get it for her.
Yeah, and kids need to dream. It's, to let them look up. And of course, with the book, I never answer the question for them because I really promote to get out there and look yourself and enjoy the adventure and, let glitter be your favorite color.
Hey, Tammy, I meant to ask you this. You lived in Panama, right?
Yeah, I did.
Now, what were you on?
So did you.
Yeah, were you on the Pacific side or the Atlantic side?
Both.
You were on both. I was on the Pacific side in Balboa.
Okay, so were we. My little brother was born in Balboa in 1973.
Okay, I was there from 77 to 1980.
That's when we were on the, we were there until 79 on the other side, and then we went straight from Panama. Oh, sure.
I'm just wondering.
Up to Alaska. Can you imagine the drastic heat all the way to the freezing cold?
Yeah, I did the
I
same
loved
thing.
it.
Well, I did the same thing, but in the opposite direction. So when
Did
you
you-
were
where'd you go?
when you were in Balboa, what do you remember? What school you went to?
No, I don't. I do remember that we had, basically at that time, Jimmy, I was doing military schools. My dad was a Green Beret.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to go to regular schools because of the pictures I would draw before I was even in school.
Oh, okay. All right. I was, I know that we're different in age, so we probably
How much
didn't know each other. I'm probably 20 years older than you.
Oh, then you would have known my sister Teresa, or my half sister Teresa. Well, not even that. My stepsister Teresa or my stepbrother Billy.
Well, did they go to Balboa High School? Well, there was only one high school there, Balboa High School. I'm saying, was there?
Probably. My sister was 17 years old when I was born.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that later. I was just thinking outside of the box, and
Right. We'll talk. But thank you, Chase. Like I said, you're an inspiration, and if you can somehow get me the name of your book, I really do want to get it. I want to inspire my little niece. She is going through such a hard time with her parents getting divorced. My great niece.
Tammy, if you can make sure that Jimmy and Fade to Black get your mailing address, I will send you one.
There you go.
Please. I will send it to you.
Yeah, we have it.
Awesome.
Not a problem.
So hyped. Thank you.
It will be in the mail Monday.
Could you sign it for Alexis?
Well-
I'll give him the name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
She's
send
my
it to us.
sunshine.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks,
You're
Tammy.
welcome. Bye.
Living down in Central America, in Panama, it was such a trip, Chase, because you're in a military family. You're married into one now. And, but down there, it was because I had lived on so many different Army bases and things growing up. But when I went to Panama, it was really trippy in that the Canal Zone back then, which it's different today, but back then the Canal Zone was like the 51st state. That was American laws, everything there. And there was so many bases there. Air Force bases, Navy bases, Marine bases, Army bases, all over the place. I have no idea, but the entire place was one big base. So everybody that was there, now when you live here in the United States, if you're on an Army base, you may not live on that base. So maybe the family lives off base. Happens all the time. And you're going to a normal public school off base, and you're with kids whose parents are not necessarily in the military. But down there in Panama, everything was either military or your family worked for the government, for the Canal Zone Corporation. It was called the CZC. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm familiar with this system because my oldest son graduated from Guam High School.
Okay.
So DOD,
Same
I know
thing.
exactly what you're saying.
Yes. DOD. Everything's DOD. Now, down in Panama, now wrap your brain around this for a second. Down there, look who's calling in. It's Les. Let's bring him in. Les, stay on hold.
Oh, I love Les.
Stay with us, Les. So down there, we had one high school, Balboa High School. One high school. So we had one junior high school called Corundu. Now at the high school, Balboa High School, we had, because there was only one high school, who do you play in football? You play yourselves. So everything was divided. We had the red team and the blue team for everything, for tennis, for football, for baseball, whatever it is, swim team. Everything was cut in half, and then you would compete against yourselves. And then we also played the college, the Canal Zone College. And so that's how, but everybody was in everybody's business, and everybody knew everybody. I have no idea how many kids were in the entire high school, but I'm going to guess and say maybe 500 or 600. That's it. And so when I'm asking Tammy about this, I knew everybody in that high school. Doesn't matter what grade. I knew where they lived. I knew their family, and so forth. And back in my direction too. Everybody knew everybody because that's the family that we had every single day, and it didn't change. Once in a while, a new military family would move down, and when they did, if there was somebody that was of high school age, well, they would go to that. But we always knew the new kid in town.
Yeah.
And when somebody left, it was kind of tragic because now part of our family is left. It was very, 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 very small. And chances.
But there's something very special about those experiences. As parents, you're like, oh man, I wish my kid could just stay in one school and graduate with friends. But they've learned that the kids have learned better social skills. They're less likely to garnish prejudices. So when we can say we really don't see color, you're not allowed. We know what we're talking about, but there's no strangers. These kids, there was nobody when we're in overseas billets. Nobody's a local. Nobody. When the new kids come in, they're not picked on because they're all new kids.
Right.
Every 2 years.
Right. Yep. That's exactly right. And it does enable you to not only social skills, but to also adapt.
Yes.
Into your environment really quick, and how to and what not to do.
Oh, absolutely.
I was always jealous of my friends, like Jim McCleister that called earlier. Jim and I have been friends since we were kids. But remember what I said about his next door neighbor, Kurt Stokes. Kurt and him grew up together, went to elementary school and everything, and now here they are. They're in their 50s, or close to it, 49, 50 years old, and they lived next door to each other. They bought houses next to each other. And I was always jealous of kids that had those kinds of relationships.
Yes.
Because, as Army brats, every 2 years, man, every 3 years, you're pulling up stakes, and you're going somewhere else, and
I know the feeling. I know the life. Even as a wife and mom. I mean, I have girlfriends, for 25, 30 years, but I haven't seen them because they're in Japan and I'm in, but yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hey, Les, what's up, my brother?
Oh, it's all good here, Jimmy. How you doing, man? How are you, Chase?
Les, I'm so excited. I love Les.
Les is the man. Les is the closer.
He's the closer. Hey, did you have a question?
No, I think you do. Go ahead, Chase.
Actually, I would love to ask a question. First of all, I just wanted to say, just as I get used, I still get butterflies every time I call in, of course. But, I know Chase is on, so I'm sweating, I'm flushed, I do my deep breathing exercises before I come on. Oh man, you fluster me, Chase. That's how much I love you. It's that's how much the FADERNIGHTs love you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I make no secret about my love for the FADERNIGHTs. And of course, look how big this show is. And I just said how much I love you, Les. And it's very true.
Wow, it's all warm and fuzzy in here. Wow.
Well, it really is. But nobody likes that love fest. You ever notice after conferences, they call it conference hangover, where everybody's like, oh my gosh, I love you. And, you just had this really great experience with everybody. Well, until you go to a conference and experience that for yourself, it's nauseating to watch if you haven't been there. But it's so true. It really is.
Yeah.
Hey, can we throw in real quick, that Race Hobbs from KGRA really wants to gift Jimmy Church and Fade to Black with a Torah Codes brand new film recently released by Richard Shaw, award-winning director. And it's amazing documentary. You guys, it's the best one ever. So however you guys want to give one away, he wants to do that for you guys.
Oh, that's totally cool. And wow, why Race Race, you are a network head. You are a mover and a shaker. I'm going to say it right now.
Is it or not now?
Yeah, and Race is listening to me. Where was that 2 hours ago before we took 50 phone calls?
Oh my gosh, it was sitting in my Skype and I was just waiting for the right opportunity, but like, so many great callers. That was my bad.
Oh, man.
He did offer that 2 hours ago.
Oh, you know what? Okay, Race. Okay, I'll tell you what, Race.
Hey, Jimmy, take another call real quick. Whoever calls in gets it.
Okay, all right, okay, we'll do it right now. The next caller that calls in will get a Torah Codes Rick Shaw. I want to say
documentary.
Documentary, but I wanted to say what's his film series, The Watchers. He's the director with L.A. Marzulli, The Watcher series. Rick Shaw, fabulous director. He's got his new DVD out. I have it here, and by the way, I have it here. And guess who's got special thanks in the DVD at the end? Me!
Jimmy, did you look a little further and see Chase Kloetzke's there too? Because I did see your name.
Oh,
my name's there too, mister.
There you go.
Under the bus.
Yes.
Hey, if you look at Bolivia footage in Watchers 8, look who ran the cameras.
Yeah,
Just
I saw all of that, by the way. I did. I love Watchers 8, by the way. 7's good. 6, they're all good.
Yeah, 7's my favorite.
Next time, Chase, when you have next time, I'd love for you to tell the Fadernauts the story of like when you guys got arrested down there in South America.
Oh yeah,
you guys got basically tried to scam you guys.
Okay, well, hold on. We have our winner. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's? Yeah, you know what? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 calls. And I grabbed you. Who's calling?
It's Jim from Glen Rose, Texas. Jimmy on the web.
You just won.
I'm so excited.
You just won the Torah Codes. Now, listen. Hey, Jim, really quick. You know what to do. Email Rita, and we'll put that in the mail to you.
That is absolutely awesome. Les, Chase, you've been fun tonight. Really enjoyed the show. No questions, just love.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jim. And let us know what you think. Rick called me 2 days ago. He's like, dude, man, so what'd you think of Torah Codes? And he's so fired up about it. And it is such a great DVD. And
it's the best documentary I've seen in years.
Yeah. And
seriously.
And what's cool about this?
That L.A. Mazzulli does or Rick does.
Me too.
All fantastic.
Exactly.
Me too.
And on this, the DVD that you're going to get is both. There's 2 DVDs in there. You get the Blu-ray and you get your regular high-def, regular DVD. So they're both in there. Don't freak out when you get the DVD. It looks like it's just the Blu-ray. It's not. There's 2 DVDs in there, one of each. So no matter what, you're covered. Okay?
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
All right. You know what to do, Jim. Email Rita right now. We'll get you hooked up. Okay?
Yeah, I'll get it to her. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Jim.
Wow, man. The phone's just lit up too, man. Brrr. I was like, oh, no. I just grabbed one, and it was Jim. So there you go. All right. Les. So what's going on, man? We're going to run late because we pulled in Les late. Chess, you want to hang for about 2-3 more minutes?
Oh, for
I'd
you
love to
guys.
ask her one more question.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chase. I really appreciate it. What I wanted to ask you was, and now, of course, I've heard this, but I would love for you to explain, because you don't deal in just UFOs. You also deal in the paranormal and cryptids and everything like that. And another thing I love about you. Can you tell everybody how you feel or what you think about using EM pumps?
Oh, the electromagnetic, enhancers?
Yes, the pumps. That they pump the energy into the area.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, and let me tell you why. It's Les, I'm just like, bam.
That's a great question.
I love you.
Yeah,
It is a wicked great question, and I'm not a fan, and this is why. Because the theory behind the EMF pumps is is that increasing electromagnetic fields around you will help create an apparition or activity that supernatural and spirits feed off of that. It's a good theory, except we also know high EMF causes a variety of symptoms that really would affect whether this was working or not. So you put 3 investigators in the room, you throw on this high EMF, and you have somebody who feels like somebody's in back of them. Well, paranoia is one of the symptoms. You have somebody that feels like they've been touched, and you got the other guy who's nauseous. OMG. You just created your own paranormal experience. My other thing I don't like about it is, what do we know? What do we really know about these pumps? Are we doing any damage? Okay, so we put the pumps on. The spirits are getting drawn in. You guys, are we taking them? Are they getting pulled from a good place? Do they want to come? Are we forcing them somewhere? Or even worse, are we trapping them on this side? Because how do you know if you bring something here, can we get them back to where they belong? Or even worse, you're doing this about 15 minutes later, I'm bored. Let's go do EMP, or let's go do EVPs in the basement. And you've got something only half here.
Oh, right.
We don't know what we're talking. We don't really understand what we're doing when it comes to this. So no, when they first came out, people didn't understand it. Actually, they didn't think I understood it. I'm like, no, I get it, guys. Let me tell you what my problem with this is. 5 minutes looking at you using this device. So I just think we have to be smarter when it comes to being investigators. And everyone knows I stick with, kind of a cop's way of, methodology. Why reinvent the wheel? If these interview tactics work, that's what we're going to use. If this is, how you collect evidence, why does everybody want to reinvent it? But when we're looking at scientific or experimental type devices that are all over Amazon and these ghost hunt stores, and they're the biggest thing, I just hope everybody just takes a little extra time and figure out what that is. And if you're going to use, high EMFs and you're going to read a Gauss meter, know what that little yellow button lit up on your K2 means versus the red one. Like how many Gauss is it going to take to make you sick? How many Gauss does indicate we're better than this, guys? We're better than those EMF pumps.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chase. I really appreciate you for saying that. I really do. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for asking, Les. Love you, Les.
Les, are you hanging up or something?
No.
Okay, that's what you say when you're leaving.
Okay.
Don't leave, man.
I'm not leaving, man.
All right. Hey, Chase, thank you so much. It was all that and a bag of chips tonight. I just had a wonderful time. I knew it was going to be this great. And, it's so funny. I'm watching everybody. You guys need to co-host. Then, no, we can't. We can't. We need to do this once in a while and capture the spark like a ladybug, in a jar. That's what it is just something that is just magical, and it just happens. You can't force it. You just got to let it flow.
Exactly.
So magical.
I have to work on my soft Russian accent. Did I see that on Twitter that your co-host needs to have a soft Russian accent? So I'm going to work on that.
I didn't see that.
It was a fun tweet. It was a joke. It was a very fun tweet.
I get it. I do. Thank you so much, Chase, and give my best to everybody over at KGRA, and I got to thank Race because he kind of let me do this today. So thank you, Race, for we're all rolling that same rock uphill.
We are.
And so
together, Jimmy, always together.
Thank you so much. And again, everybody, if you're not listening to this show, you go to KGRA and check it out. And I really mean that. That's where it's happening these days. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chase.
You're welcome. Have a great night, guys, and anytime, Jimmy.
Good night, Chase.
Bye.
Love you, Chase.
All right, Les. Oh man, we went into overtime.
Dude.
So
before it was so worth it though.
Yeah, so much so. Thank you so much, man. And are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready, Jimmy.
Okay.
Is everybody else ready?
Yeah,
Probably not, but let's go.
Let's do it. Go ahead.
Okay, first I'd like to thank Chase Kloetzke for co-hosting tonight. Jimmy, it would also like to thank all the FADERNIGHTs who phoned home tonight. Fade to Black executive producer is Rita Kamurian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm and Mark D. Kovar. Special thanks to LJ3, that's me, Renee, and Jonas. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Bateau, and Mark D. Kovar. Beatty by Dale. Webmaster is Method of Signaling. Music is by Doug Aldrich. Intro by Spaceboy. See him at spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. And with that, we are out of here.
All right, everybody. Have a great, safe weekend. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Chase Kloetzke. On Monday, we have the one and only Buff Perry will be joining us. We got a great week lined up next week. Linda Moulton Howe, Nick Pope, couple of surprises. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Les. Everybody be safe. Have a great weekend. See ya.